Chapter 621. Revenge for the past, repaid today. On the green grassland, those monsters that blend into the earth are extremely difficult to see with the naked eye. But using soul power, each one is clear and distinct. Lin Mo can clearly sense the aura, location, and shape of these monsters. Many times, it's much more useful than the naked eye. This is because his soul power is strong, and his soul can be released far. Releasing soul power is also a sign that the soul has reached the divine level. Lin Mo wasn't used to it at first, but now he has gradually become accustomed to it, often replacing his eyes. No wonder they say hiding is useless in front of divine-level powerhouses. Life aura is too obvious. Unless it's an assassin-type profession, and at least at the half-step divine level, can they completely conceal their life aura. Lin Mo's heart is as clear as a mirror, analyzing very clearly. He has always been good at analyzing, and now that his soul is strong and his mental power is abundant, his analytical ability has also improved. A small matter, a small detail can be analyzed to reveal many situations. Lin Mo sped across the green grassland at the fastest speed. He entered the territory of the venomous flood dragon. After a long time, Lin Mo doesn't know if a new venomous flood dragon has reappeared. Under the rules of the ancient battlefield, world-class bosses will respawn in about 3 months to a year after being killed. The time is uncertain, somewhat random, and difficult to judge. Lin Mo saw that there were already many shadows of poisonous snakes on the earth. So many poisonous snakes that he killed before have now reappeared. It's just that the poisonous snakes here are too scattered. In the past, there was the corpse poison spring of the venomous god as an attraction, which could gather the poisonous snakes together. Now that they are scattered, killing them is completely inefficient. Lin Mo didn't stop, and didn't encounter the venomous flood dragon. According to Lin Mo's judgment, he shouldn't have encountered it. After all, this territory is not small, spanning hundreds of kilometers, so it's normal not to encounter it. Lin Mo's current route is exactly the same as when he first came to the wild continent. After crossing the territory of the venomous flood dragon, it is the territory of the giant leaf mother tree. Lin Mo still remembers being chased by the giant leaf mother tree, and then counter-attacking and killing it. Although he didn't kill it, he also scared away the giant leaf mother tree. Now that he is revisiting the old place, a little killing intent rises in Lin Mo's eyes. Giant leaf dwarf trees are everywhere, densely packed, countless at a glance. Under soul perception, they are all clusters of not small life auras. Although the level is only in the early 70s, the experience is not small. Plus the giant leaf mother tree. Lin Mo feels that if he can clear this place once, he will at least have 10% of the experience income. Revenge for the past, repaid today. Just as Lin Mo was about to make a move, his soul suddenly sensed a wave of energy. There was a battle aura coming from afar. The familiar aura, it's the giant leaf mother tree and human professionals. Lin Mo immediately flew over and saw the battlefield scene. A group of professionals are besieging the giant leaf mother tree. These professionals are all above level 80, with a number of about 30 people, well-equipped, and very powerful in combat. Lin Mo took a few glances and shook his head slightly. This group of people is indeed good in combat, but it is still a bit worse than the giant leaf mother tree. If these people go to fight other level 86 world bosses, they still have a chance, but fighting the giant leaf mother tree difficult. The word difficult has already doomed their ending. In the final analysis, it is because the giant leaf mother tree is a plant-based boss. Lin Mo knows too much about plant-based bosses. Their vitality is far stronger than other types of bosses of the same level. Especially the recovery ability, which is even more amazing. Like the existence of the giant leaf mother tree, it can escape once it can't beat it. Moreover, all the giant leaf dwarf trees in this territory can provide it with vitality. The recovery speed of the giant leaf mother tree will be very amazing. Normally, either crush it directly with powerful force, don't give it a chance. Or clear a large number of giant leaf dwarf trees first. Or have special skills that can restrain it. But these 3 conditions, the team in front of them does not have. They can't win this battle. Lin Mo just watched and didn't make a move. It's impolite to steal other people's monsters. Before others ask for help, Lin Mo will not act. This team is all from Divine Sha, and Lin Mo is even more so. If it were professionals from other countries, it would be hard to say. Lin Mo would not be so pedantic as to talk about human principles. In his eyes, the human race is limited to the Divine Sha people. There is a saying from the previous life, even if he has traveled to this life, Lin Mo still has not forgotten. Those who are not of my race, their hearts must be different. The same race refers to the divine Sha human race, and does not include those with blonde hair and blue eyes, whose appearances are different. Lin Mo never feels that he is narrow-minded, nor does he think that he is a saint. Just do what he thinks is right, this is his idea. After watching for a while, the battle is finally coming to an end. The more tired these people get, the more they know that things cannot be done. One of them shouted to Lin Mo, "Little brother, you go quickly, we are going to retreat, this boss can't be beaten." Before leaving, calling Lin Mo is considered more ethical. Lin Mo said, "You go first, I want to kill it." These people were stunned for a moment, and looked at Lin Mo in shock, with the words, "Are you crazy?" clearly written in their eyes. "Little brother, don't joke, this is a world-class boss, not an ordinary monster, you can't kill it alone." "That's right, so many of us can't kill it, how can a level 73 little guy like you kill it?" Lin Mo smiled, "You retreat, I'll kill it for you to see." The overcast wind is dense, and the sky suddenly darkened. A skeleton throne appeared in the air, and the skeleton king was sitting on the throne. Lin Mo was not stingy, and 100,000 skeletons directly transformed into the skeleton king. Skeleton king infinitely close to the divine level. Along the way, Lin Mo Yu summoned the undead army while hurrying, and had already replenished the undead army. Now the total number of skeletons reached 119,250, and the number of headless knights also reached 39,750. Nearly 40,000 in number. The total number of the undead army reached as high as 159,000. Once the undead army is dispatched collectively, it is definitely an astonishing and terrifying army. Not to mention dealing with armies of the same level, even against an army of level 80, they can still fight and win. What's more, the undead army also has the skill of immortality. Whether it is combat power or survivability, it has reached the top level. Lin Mo Yu can completely achieve the feat of one person being an enemy of a country. It is not difficult for him to destroy some small forces and small countries. What Bai Yi Yuan could do in the past, Lin Mo Yu can now easily do. The moment they saw the Skeleton King, all the professionals present were stunned. Is this a summon? How can there be such a terrifying summon? The Skeleton King slowly moved, and swung his sword. The giant leaf mother tree let out a scream, and half of its body was directly cut off. Huge trees fell and scattered, and then the Skeleton King clenched his fist. In the roar, the giant leaf mother tree was detonated. What was detonated together was not only it, but also a large number of nearby giant leaf dwarf trees. Two skills completely paralyzed the giant leaf mother tree, and the giant leaf mother tree was blown beyond recognition. It turned around and fled, just like when it first saw Lin Mo Yu. It quickly moved away with each step. "You can't escape." Lin Mo Yu's heart moved, and the eye of the undead appeared in the air. The undead world was burning with raging flames, and the eye of the undead looked towards the giant leaf mother tree. The giant leaf mother tree's whole body trembled, and it fell down screaming. Its soul suffered a heavy blow. Lin Mo Yu locked onto it with his soul, and at the same time detonated the giant leaf dwarf trees. In the crisp explosion, the giant leaf mother tree suffered another heavy blow. Explosions occurred one after another, and the Skeleton King also pounced on it, slashing down with his sword. In just 5 seconds, the seemingly powerful giant leaf mother tree was killed on the spot. Killed the giant leaf mother tree, experience plus ***. Obtained giant leaf knight sword. Obtained giant leaf long handle hammer. Obtained giant leaf heart, giant leaf knight sword, quasi-legendary weapon. Giant leaf long handle hammer, quasi-legendary weapon. Giant leaf heart, quasi-legendary material, can be used to create legendary equipment. Lin Mo Yu didn't say much, the Skeleton King dispersed, and the undead army collectively appeared, launching a massacre on the giant leaf dwarf trees all over the ground. A group of people were extremely shocked, opened their mouths wide and looked at Lin Mo Yu, not knowing what to say, or what they could say. "Senior, how did you do it? Senior, are you a god-level powerhouse who came back from the deep space? Senior." With a wave of his hand, Lin Mo Yu said, "You haven't returned to the human world for a long time, have you?" Everyone nodded, saying that they hadn't been back for many years. Lin Mo Yu smiled and said, "You'll know when you have time to go back." Chapter 622, Fusing a New Skill Star Core. The territory of the giant leaf mother tree was completely destroyed. As Lin Mo expected, the experience increased by about 12%. For others, this 12% experience might require constantly farming dungeons for 2 or 3 months. But for him, it was only less than half an hour. The giant leaf dwarf trees were cleared, and the ground was full of broken branches and leaves. They will decay and soon be swallowed by the ancient earth, and the land will become barren. But it won't be long before new giant leaf dwarf trees will appear. For countless years, the ancient battlefield has long been divided into territories. Even if there are no giant leaf dwarf trees here, nearby monsters such as poisonous snakes will not come to invade. In a few months, this place will be full of giant leaf dwarf trees again, and the giant leaf mother tree will reappear, and the world boss will be reborn. Not only the ancient battlefield, but many places in the entire world are like this, operating day after day according to the rules. After passing through the territory of the giant leaf mother tree, Lin Mo almost traversed the entire wild continent, reaching the edge of the wild continent, facing the meteor continent across the sea. The wild continent is very vast. The overall shape is oval. Lin Mo spent nearly 2 days traversing it, encountering several battles along the way. In addition to the giant leaf mother tree, several other world bosses were also killed by Lin Mo, including their territories which were also cleared. Twice, Lin Mo took a fancy to the area and found that the monsters were dense, suitable for earning experience. Twice, the world bosses took the initiative to provoke Lin Mo, but were killed instead. Arriving at the edge of the continent, you can already see the sea. A large number of light spots are floating in the sea. These light spots are like starlight reflecting, making the sea surface bright. This sea is also called the Starlight Sea. The closer you get to the meteor continent, the denser the light spots become. The light of the Starlight Sea is reflected on the sky, and then reflected down, looking dazzlingly beautiful. It complements Lin Mo's white light, beautifully and harmoniously. Lin Mo chose a flat ground, sat down slowly facing the Starlight Sea, and a group of skeletons appeared around him, forming a protective net. The waves hit the shore reefs, rustling. Lin Mo's mind has completely sunk into his soul. When he reached level 74, his soul throbbed. Lin Mo was blessed to his heart, knowing that his soul was complete and could accommodate another skill star core. Lin Mo has already tasted the sweetness of how strong the effect is after pulling the skill star core into the soul. Even if the fusion is very low, it can still cause a qualitative change in the skill. Lin Mo did not hesitate and directly started the great cause of moving bricks. The power of the soul surged, and he skillfully found the skill space and saw the shining skill star core. The skill star core is like a star, large and small, bright and dark. Each skill star core represents a skill. Even before the official move, Lin Mo doesn't know what skill a certain skill star core represents. Only when the power of the soul completely covers and penetrates it can he know what his choice is. But at that time, it is too late to change. It feels like hitting the jackpot. But for Lin Mo, it doesn't matter. Anyway, his goal is to move all the skills over, without letting go of one. His path is different from others, very difficult. But once it is completed, it will also be very strong. Lin Mo chose a skill star core that looked the brightest, and the power of the soul covered it like a giant hand. Having had 2 experiences, Lin Mo has become very skilled this time. The power of the soul completely wraps the skill star core, and then begins to penetrate. The power of the soul is like a thin needle, penetrating everywhere, completely entering the skill star core, and then begins the long journey of moving bricks. A message was transmitted into his mind, and Lin Mo knew what skill he had chosen. A Summon Skeleton Kinga. It's actually this skill. After mastering Summon Skeleton King, Lin Mo had already made it his primary skill. It was as if the skeletons in the Undead Legion existed to serve the summoning of the Skeleton King. Even the former Undead Legion was no longer very applicable. Mainly because the Skeleton King was too strong and too useful. This time, he happened to select this skill, and Lin Mo was also full of expectations, wondering what kind of changes would occur to this skill. His soul, like a giant hand, firmly grasped the skill star core, beginning to drag it away from the skill space and transport it to his own soul world. At the same time, the power of the soul was constantly merging with the skill star core. Lin Mo felt that the transportation seemed to be a bit more laborious than before, and the skill space's binding force on the skill star core was stronger than the previous 2 times. After thinking about it, he understood. If the total binding force of the skill space is constant, and he possesses 10 skill star cores, each skill star core would be affected by 10% of the skill space's binding force. But when 2 skill star cores have been moved away by him, and the binding force is still 10, with only 8 skill star cores remaining, then the remaining 8 skill star cores would each be subjected to an average of 12.5% of the skill space's binding force. By the time of the last skill star core, it would be subjected to 100% of the binding force. The binding force needs to be countered with soul power, and the further you go, the harder it becomes. Lin Moyu finally understood why most god-level powerhouses only moved 2 or 3 skill star cores. It was really too difficult the further you went. Fortunately, his soul power was strong enough, having reached god level, and with the help of the 9-colored dragon soul crystal and blue enchantress fire, it was constantly increasing slowly. Otherwise, Lin Moyu would not have been confident in moving all the skill star cores. What's more, there were the 3 flames in the talent world, which Lin Moyu was even more eager for. But it was imaginable that they would have even higher requirements for the soul. At least currently, Lin Moyu was completely unable to move them, far from being enough. Waves kept crashing, one after another, continuing for who knows how many years, never stopping. From time to time, creatures leapt out of the sea, their bodies also covered with light spots. It was unknown whether the starry sea made them like this, or whether they made the starry sea dazzlingly beautiful. Seeking fresh flowers. The starry sea can be said to be the most beautiful place in the lower space, but beneath the beautiful surface lies danger. Soul power surged out continuously, although the spatial binding force increased a lot, Lin Moyu's soul power increased even more. After a full 2 days, the skill star core was finally moved out of the skill space. Without the influence of the binding force, the moving speed suddenly accelerated. After another half day, the skill star core representing Summon Skeleton King finally entered the soul. More soul power poured into the skill star core, the skill star core shone brightly, and the two began to merge. Lin Moyu was expectant, wondering how much the fusion degree would be. The higher the fusion degree, the better, but it also depended on the nature of the skill star core and the strength of his own soul, which was hard to say. In Lin Moyu's anticipation, the Summon Skeleton King skill star core finally absorbed enough soul power. In an extremely brilliant explosion, it regurgitated soul power, officially taking root in the soul world. After being filtered and refined by the skill star core, the regurgitated soul power was even purer. It was as if Lin Moyu's soul level had improved again. The two complemented each other, mutually beneficial. Lin Moyu checked the skill star core at first glance. About 1/3 of the star core had been rendered golden. Lin Moyu was slightly happy, exceeding his expectations. He had thought of a 20% fusion degree, but now it had been surpassed. He immediately checked the skill changes. Summon Skeleton King fusion degree 30%. Fuse the power of skeletons to summon the Skeleton King, requiring a minimum fusion of 10,000 skeletons and a maximum of 100,000 skeletons. Summoning the Skeleton King does not make the skeletons disappear, nor does it weaken their power. After Lin Moyu finished reading the skill description, his whole body trembled slightly again due to excitement. He muttered to himself, no wonder it's like this. At the time of the skill demonstration, he saw that the Skeleton King and the skeletons coexisted. Thousands of Skeleton Kings and endless skeletons fought together. But when he mastered the skill, he needed to fuse the skeletons together to summon the Skeleton King. The two could not coexist at all. At that time, he had doubts, but he thought that his level was still low and he could not summon enough skeletons. Now, seeing this, it turned out that the skill star core had not entered the soul. Now that the skill star core had entered the soul, he also possessed the same ability. He could summon the Skeleton King again while summoning the Undead Legion. The Skeleton King fused the power of the skeletons, but did not affect the skeletons themselves. The Skeleton King and the skeletons could coexist and fight side by side. Imperceptibly, the combat power increased greatly again. This way, he didn't have to allocate how many skeletons to use to summon the Skeleton King and how many skeletons to leave for battle. Now everything became simple. Lin Moyu, who had been sitting for 3 days, slowly got up, with a smile of joy in his eyes, and flew across the starry sea towards the meteorite continent. Chapter 623. Gods also have territory divisions. The starry sea, beneath its beautiful appearance, hides danger. Whether from the northern wind and thunder continent or from the southern wild continent, to enter the western meteorite continent, one must pass through the starry sea. The danger in the starry sea is hidden in the myriad of stars. Lin Moyu flew high in the sky, nearly 1,000 meters above the sea surface. Just after flying out dozens of kilometers, the sea surface below suddenly lit up. Originally, the sea surface had starlight flickering, but at this time, countless light spots lit up together. Immediately afterwards, countless rays of light shot out from the sea like sharp arrows. The speed of the light was so fast that even Lin Moyu could hardly dodge, and could only withstand it head-on. The attack power of a single ray of light was not great, only around level 70. However, the number of rays of light was too large, and the energy gathered and fused, constantly raising the attack power. Lin Moyu's whole body was illuminated, as bright as the brightest star in the night sky. 1,000 rays, 5,000 rays, 10,000 rays. Lin Moyu kept counting, not paying attention to the light attacks at all. The light was a pure light element attack, and Lin Moyu was already immune to the light element, so he was not affected at all. 700, light pillars increased, and Lin Moyu became brighter and brighter, much brighter than the stars. The light came from the starry sea, roughly from an area of 10 kilometers in radius. As Lin Moyu continued to move forward, the area behind no longer had light shooting out, while the area in front continued to have light joining the attack. In just a 10-kilometer radius area, there were more than 100,000 light spots, and more than 100,000 attacks. Concentrated together, the attack power was no less than that of an level 88 or 89 professional, hitting you every second. Even level 88 or 89 professionals could not withstand it. Usually, if professionals wanted to cross the starry sea, they would go together in groups of dozens or hundreds. With more people advancing together, the attacks from the starry sea would not increase as a result. The pressure each person needs to bear will also be reduced by dozens of times, so that they can survive safely. Someone like Lin Moyu, who crosses the starry sea alone, is absolutely unique. Relying on his own immunity to light elements, Lin Moyu freely soars above the starry sea. Lin Moyu looked at the sea with interest. He thought of the dungeon he had entered with Mo Yun, from which he obtained a piece of the wing of the god of light. At that time, it was also attacked by countless rays of light, and now it seems to be somewhat similar to the starry sea. Therefore, Lin Moyu had a guess in his heart, whether the starry sea is related to the god of light. Lin Moyu even had the idea of entering the starry sea to find out, but after thinking about it, he temporarily suppressed it. Go to the source origin secret realm first, and explore after finishing the work at hand. Lin Moyu even felt that it might be safer to wait until his strength was stronger. Things about the gods should be treated with utmost caution. There are too many secrets in this world, and with his current strength, he cannot guarantee safety. If he encounters the existence under the Thunder Mountain range, if he is unlucky, he will be slapped to death. If it is really related to the god of light, he believes that the god of light will not only have light element as an attack method. Moreover, light element immunity is not 100% insurance. What if there are laws? As his strength becomes stronger and stronger, Lin Moyu has seen a wider world and knows that he is far from strong enough. It's like people who originally lived in a village. The biggest world they saw was the town, and they thought it was the best to be able to come to the town. But after arriving in the town, they discovered that there are cities, provinces, and countries outside. The world is constantly expanding, and oneself is also becoming smaller. Only by strengthening oneself can one truly stand at the peak of the world. Lin Moyu's goal has become extremely ambitious. His limitations were completely broken after seeing Antares and encountering the dragon god. The goal has completely changed. Lin Moyu no longer hopes that he can become a transcendent, but hopes that he can surpass the transcendent and reach a height as high as Antares or even higher than Antares and the dragon god. After flying for several hours, the meteorite continent came into view. It happened to be the place where he was teleported last time. There are so many coincidences in the world. The moment he entered the meteorite continent, the constantly attacking rays of light disappeared instantly. The disappearance was very abrupt. Lin Moyu keenly discovered that he seemed to have entered another field. Just like boss monsters often have clear territory divisions, there is a small dividing line that determines two different areas. Lin Moyu speculated, if the starry sea is related to the god of light, belonging to the territory of the god of light, then the meteorite continent should be related to the god of the stars, and as the territory of the god of the stars. The two gods do not interfere with each other. Lin Moyu looked up at the starry sky. The meteorites came from infinitely high places in the sky. If you want to find the traces of the god of the stars, you have to go to the sky. If you want to trace the god of light, you have to go down to the starry sea. Lin Moyu has always been curious about what happened back then, and he will find out one day. He once again circled along the meteorite continent, looking for that source origin secret realm. Last time, he started circling from the center and gradually expanded. This time, he started circling from the edge and gradually narrowed. The effect is the same, the key is still luck. Along the way, watching the meteorites constantly falling, Lin Moyu also took the opportunity to harvest a few starry sky crystals. Although he doesn't know what they are for, they contain the divine power of the god of the stars after all, and may be useful someday. He flew around the meteorite continent circle after circle, for a full 2 days and 2 nights. Finally, that source origin rune on the back of his hand reacted and began to emit a faint light. Once that source origin rune glows, it means that source origin secret realm is within 100 kilometers. After Lin Moyu adjusted and tried several times, he finally determined the direction and immediately flew over. 100 kilometers is only a matter of 2 minutes for him. Soon, he saw a spot of light. The spot of light was the entrance to the secret realm. Lin Moyu stood in the high sky and looked down. A human race professional was standing in front of the light spot, seemingly hesitating whether to go in or not. That source origin rune light was also flashing on the back of his hand. He was also an owner of that source origin rune. Through the power of the soul, Lin Moyu roughly judged that the opponent's level should be between 85 and 87. Coming over now, he probably wants to try to see if he can keep his source origin rune skill. He also sensed Lin Moyu and looked up, and was relieved to see that he was also a human race professional. Then he saw the shining source origin rune on the back of Lin Moyu's hand, and he had 2 source origin runes on both his left and right hands. A look of surprise flashed in his eyes. It is rare for one person to obtain 2 source origin runes. Little brother, are you also entering that source origin secret realm? Because of the 2 source origin runes, he thought highly of Lin Moyu and his attitude was more polite. Lin Moyu nodded, yes, senior too. He hummed, yes. Then he sighed, but, I have no confidence at all. Lin Moyu asked, is that source origin secret realm so difficult? It's very difficult. Since ancient times, there have been many people who have obtained that source origin rune, but in the end, very few people can retain their skills. Lin Moyu also knew about this information, and even knew it more clearly. In the recorded history of the human race, there are a total of 126 people who have obtained that source origin rune and only 3 people have ultimately retained their skills. Among these 3 people, 2 became half-step transcendent, and the other one fell after becoming a god. It can be seen that the assessment in that source origin secret realm must be extremely difficult. Everyone who enters that source origin secret realm cannot remember what happened inside after coming out. Only the words, extremely difficult, are left behind. He seemed to have not made up his mind yet, and squeezed out a smile towards Lin Moyu. My name is Tang Sheng 5.2, what is your name, little brother? Lin Moyu said truthfully, Junior Lin Moyu. Tang Sheng was not surprised at all after hearing Lin Moyu's name. Obviously he did not know Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu knew that this was probably another person who practiced alone in the primordial battlefield, had not returned to the city, had not returned to the human race world, and had even lost contact with the outside world in recent years, so he did not know himself at all. There are many people who practice alone like this, they are called ascetics. Lin Moyu looked at the long sword behind Tang Sheng. Senior is from the Tang family in the northwest, right? Tang Sheng nodded, yes, how did you see that, little brother? Lin Moyu said, I have seen Tang Jianfei, his scabbard has the same pattern as Senior's scabbard. Tang Sheng chuckled, Jianfei, it must have been several years since I saw that kid. When this is over, I should go back and take a look. Lin Moyu confirmed that his guess was correct, he was indeed an ascetic. Lin Moyu said, Senior is not entering the secret realm, are you afraid of losing your skills? Tang Sheng looked at Lin Moyu and smiled bitterly, indeed, this skill is very important to me, if I can't keep it, it will have a great impact. 624. I was too happy too early. Tang Sheng has been practicing hard for many years, and has been alone in the wild. Usually there is no one to talk to, and now that he finally saw a living person, he became talkative. After chatting for a while, Lin Moyu already understood his concerns. It shouldn't be said that it is his concerns. Almost everyone who obtains that source origin rune will have this concern before entering that source origin secret realm. Any professional, after obtaining that source origin rune, can feel the help brought by that source origin rune skill. Lin Moyu often still uses that strong soldier skill to kill strong enemies. Without that strong soldier skill, his upgrade path would not have been so smooth. But in the end, people who have that source origin rune have to face two choices. The first option is to ignore it and use the origin runea skill until it reaches the god level. After achieving god level, the origin runea will naturally disappear. If one cannot become a god level being, then the origin runea skill can be retained for decades until the next batch of A origin runesa appears. The second option is to enter the A origin secret realm and try to permanently retain the origin runea, so that it can still be used even after becoming a god level being. However, the A origin secret realm is extremely difficult, and very few people can retain the skill. For many people, they will enter the A origin secret realm at level 89 to take a gamble and strive for that sliver of possibility. Some people will enter earlier because there are many benefits in the A origin secret realm that can help people become gods. Many who have entered have successfully stepped into god level. Tang Sheng thought so too. He is already level 86 and wants to enter the A origin secret realm to take a gamble and strive for it. Lin Mo smiled after hearing his words. Some things, just do your best. Don't look forward and backward and think too much. Sometimes thinking too much can become a constraint. Senior Tang, I have a word for you. Tang Sheng asked, what words? Through the conversation, Tang Sheng felt that this young man named Lin Mo was extremely extraordinary. It makes sense, how could someone who can obtain to a origin runesa be simple? Moreover, he is only level 74 and came here alone, which made Lin Mo covered in a mysterious aura. Tang Sheng listened attentively, and Lin Mo slowly uttered 8 words. If I gain it, it's my fortune, if I lose it, it's my fate. If I gain it, it's my fortune, if I lose it, it's my fate. Tang Sheng repeatedly chewed on what Lin Mo said. His body shook, and the long sword in his hand also made a long and crisp sound. Tang Sheng's aura also changed, and the whole person was like a sharp sword unsheathed, becoming more and more sharp. Lin Mo's short words completely dispelled his doubts. Go straight ahead, my sword will only become sharper and sharper. If I hesitate, my sword will rust and become blunt. Tang Sheng clasped his fist towards Lin Mo. Sincerely, I am enlightened by Brother Lin's words. Indeed, I was looking forward and backward and thinking too much. No matter what the result is, I will end my hard cultivation and go back to comprehend my skills and prepare to attack the god level. Lin Mo smiled. Senior Tang, please go in first, I will wait for you outside. The A origin secret realm can only be entered by one person at a time. If someone enters, others have to wait. Lin Mo has already found the A origin secret realm, so he doesn't care about waiting for another day or two. Tang Sheng laughed. Okay. He strode into the secret realm with the sharpness of a swordsman. Lin Mo sat cross-legged outside the secret realm, waiting for Tang Sheng to come out. He can also familiarize himself with the skills. After moving the skill star core of summoning the Skeleton King into his soul, Lin Mo has not officially used this skill. With a thought, all the skeletons appeared beside him. At level 74, the capacity of the summoning space has also been increased to 3,200. The total amount of the Undead Legion has reached 172,800, an increase of 13,800 compared to level 73. The increase in the Undead Legion is constantly increasing with his level. The increase is getting bigger and bigger, and the number of Undead Legion that can be increased for each level is also increasing. Now, there are 129,600 skeletons alone. Nearly 130,000 skeletons fill the area of several thousand meters. With a thought in Lin Mo's mind, the skill star core in his soul suddenly lit up. The sky suddenly darkened, dark clouds covered the sky, and the world became dark. Only the soul fire in the skulls flickered and jumped, making the whole world even more eerie and terrifying. The skill has changed. Lin Mo looked at the scene created by the skill, which almost changed the world. A ball of silver-white flames appeared in the air, and the Skeleton King throne, more gorgeous and terrifying than before, rushed out of the flames. The Skeleton King appeared on the Skeleton King throne, and an aura belonging to the god level also permeated. Joy rose in Lin Mo's eyes, the skill became stronger, and it was more than just a little bit. Before, he used 100,000 skeletons to summon the Skeleton King, and finally obtained a Skeleton King infinitely close to the god level. Now, using 100,000 skeletons to summon the Skeleton King, not only did the skeletons not disappear, but the Skeleton King also broke through to the god level. After the skill star core was integrated into the soul, it completely broke the limitations of the rules. Without relying on the strong Soldiera skill, the Skeleton King reached the god level. Big profit. Lin Mo looked at the Skeleton King appearing in the air, not raised through the strong Soldiera skill, but a Skeleton King who truly reached the god level. More than 20 meters tall, his whole body was surrounded by silver-white flames, and the huge bone sword in his hand was also burning with silver-white flames, shining with the soul fire that kept jumping in his head. Just looking at the appearance completely blows up the previous Skeleton King. I don't know if the skills have changed. Lin Mo flicked a detection technique. A Skeleton Kinga, A Skeleton Quantity, 100,000 A Strength, 2,600,000 A Agility, 2,600,000 A Spirit, 2,600,000 A Constitution, 2,600,000 Skills. A Godslayer, Elemental Riot, Absolute Defense C. A Godslayer. Deals physical damage to single or multiple enemies, cooldown time 30 seconds. A Elemental Riot. Deals elemental damage to single or multiple enemies, cooldown time 30 seconds. A Absolute Defense. Immune to 99% of damage for 1 minute, immune to all negative states, cooldown time 5 minutes. The attributes officially broke through 10 million, reaching 10.4 million, which is equivalent to a newly broken 90-level powerhouse, and is a true god level. The 4-dimensional attributes are balanced, and there are no weaknesses in any level. Although there are no advantages, as long as the attributes are high enough, it will not be a problem. The skills did change as Lin Mo thought. The cooldown time of the Godslayer and Elemental Riot skills became 30 seconds, which is half less than before. This also greatly increased the Skeleton King's combat power. Although it does not explain how strong the damage is, Lin Mo knows that it will definitely not be bad. The cooldown time of Absolute Defense has also changed from 10 minutes to 5 minutes, and the survival ability has also been greatly improved. The most important thing is that with the existence of the God-level Skeleton King, Lin Mo's survival ability has been further improved. There is one more damage-bearing unit. Lin Mo saw lines of silk, which extended from the skeletons to the Skeleton King, representing that this Skeleton King was summoned by these 353 skeletons. There are still 29,600 skeletons that have not been summoned. With a thought in his mind, Lin Mo cast the Summon Skeleton King skill again. The firelight in the sky jumped, and the Skeleton King throne appeared. This time, 20,000 skeletons were used, and the Summoned Skeleton King was not a God level 1, and the Skeleton King throne was far less exquisite than the God level Skeleton King. The newly released Skeleton King is much smaller in size, and there is no silver white flame on his body, which is obviously much weaker. The experiment is not over yet. Lin Mo activates the A Strong Soldiera skill. Check the attributes of the God-level Skeleton King again. The attributes of the God-level Skeleton King have increased again, but not as much as 200%. Each attribute reached 3 million, and the total attribute was 12 million. Judging from the attributes alone, it's about the same as level 92, still not breaking through to level 93. Seeing this result, Lin Mo was slightly disappointed. Without using the Strong Soldier skill, the Skeleton King reaching the God level is much stronger than before. After using the Strong Soldier skill, the increase becomes smaller, and the difference from before is not obvious. It seems that the influence of the rules still exists. I was happy too early. The skill cooldown time is reduced by half, and the actual combat power has indeed increased a lot. The Strong Soldier skill is always an external object, I can't rely on it too much. Perhaps after this secret realm, there will be no more Strong Soldier skill. Lin Mo looked at the two skills on the back of his left and right hands, and said to himself, if only one of the two skills can be retained, how should I choose? Although both skills are very good, Lin Mo didn't dare to expect too much. If only one could be retained. How should I choose? Thoughts flashed like electricity, analyzing the pros and cons. After a while, a flash of light flashed in his eyes, and he had the answer. 625 The secret realm of the righteous God is actually a copy. Half a day later, the entrance of the secret realm lit up. Tang Sheng walked out of the secret realm with confusion in his eyes. Confusion is normal. Lin Mo knew that everyone who came out of the secret realm was like this. They basically forget what happened in the secret realm, and can only remember some fragmented pieces. Through these fragmented pieces, no useful information can be deduced. In addition, there are not many people who are qualified to enter that source secret realm, so over the years, there is almost no news about that source secret realm. Besides knowing that the secret realm is extremely difficult, there is nothing else. After a few seconds of confusion, Tang Sheng's eyes flashed, and he murmured, "I'm out." Lin Mo said, "How is Senior Tang?" Tang Sheng looked at the back of his hand, and the rune on the back of his hand was gone. Tang Sheng smiled bitterly, "Failed." Failure was expected, and over the years, very few people have succeeded. Seeing that the confusion in his eyes had not completely faded, Lin Mo didn't ask him much about what happened in the secret realm. He knew that he couldn't ask anything. If Tang Sheng could really remember something, he would definitely take the initiative to tell himself. Tang Sheng patted his head, and the sharp aura burst out of his body again, turning into the sharp sword that pierced the night again. Lin Mo knew that forgetting everything in the secret realm might not be a bad thing. Not everyone can face their failures squarely. If you only know a result, you will be a little disappointed at most. If the memory of the secret realm still exists, and the process of failure is repeatedly replayed in the memory, then it will not be of much benefit to future cultivation. Tang Sheng's aura is getting stronger and stronger, and this sword is getting sharper and sharper, surpassing his state when he first entered the secret realm. Although Tang failed to keep that source rune, he should have gained a lot of benefits. Tang can feel that he has become stronger, and he has a greater grasp of impacting the god level. He did get a lot of benefits. Lin Mo keenly sensed that Tang Sheng's soul had become stronger. For those who want to set foot on the god level, strengthening the soul is the top priority. You can have fewer skills, you can upgrade slowly, only strengthening the soul is the most important. With Lin Mo's current soul strength at the god level, he can clearly sense which level Tang Sheng's soul is at. Tang Sheng's previous level was 86, and his soul level was slightly weaker, less than level 85. Most professionals are like him, their souls can't keep up with their levels, which also makes it extremely difficult for most professionals to become god-level powerhouses. This is also why so many pseudo-gods appear, although the level of pseudo-gods has reached 90, but the soul strength is a little bit worse, and they will never be able to become gods for life. Now that Tang Sheng has undergone that source secret realm trip, his soul level has been improved, and it is now at level 86, which is the same as Tang Sheng's own level. In this way, his possibility of becoming a god level has greatly increased, at least there is a half hope that he can become a god level. From the changes in Tang Sheng, Lin Mo guessed what the benefits of that source secret realm are, that is, to improve the soul level. Based on this to continue to make inferences, Lin Mo guessed that the assessment in that source secret realm should also be related to the soul. This kind of speculation is not without reason, but based on his own experience in the past 2 years, as well as the level he has reached now, and comprehensive analysis. Lin Mo said, "Then this junior wishes senior success in becoming famous and becoming a god level I one half. Tang Sheng laughed loudly, okay, welcome to visit my Tang family, Tang will greet you with open arms." Tang Sheng is not a procrastinator, and he has already said goodbye in a few words. Take out the teleportation talisman and teleport back to Shengxia Ancient City. He has been away for several years, and has been practicing hard for several years, and it is his first time back to the city. I don't know what his reaction will be when he goes back and learns Lin Mo's identity. There are many people who practice hard, and it is not uncommon to be like Tang Sheng. Lin Mo looked at the entrance of the secret realm, took a deep breath, it's my turn. The scenery changed, and an extremely pleasant elegant fragrance floated into the nose. It's not the fragrance of flowers, but it's better than the fragrance of flowers. It's more like the fragrance of plants and trees, which makes people feel clear and bright, and has a sense of enlightenment after smelling it. Lin Mo felt that his thinking seemed to be a bit more active, and his soul became more flexible and lively. Strange fragrance. Lin Mo realized that this fragrance was not simple, it could make people's brains run more flexibly. As soon as the line of sight recovered, he saw a warm sun in the sky. The warm sun shed its brilliance, and the gentle light shone on the body, warm and comfortable. The pores of the whole body seemed to be opened, the fatigue was swept away, and the body reached its peak state. Strange fragrance, warm sun, the combination of the two allows everyone who enters the secret realm to reach their peak state. These 2 points alone made Lin Mo feel good about the secret realm. Then he saw the birds and flowers in the secret realm, mountains in the distance, and water in the near. Wild flowers and green grass are everywhere, and there are scattered trees, and green trees are shaded on the mountains in the distance. A small road extends into the distance, with simple pavilions along the road, and huts can be seen under the foot of the mountain. But this picture made Lin Mo feel familiar. The soul secret realm of the righteous God. Lin Mo had seen the exact same secret realm, which was the secret realm constructed by Zhang Yi with his soul. No, it can't be said to be exactly the same, there are still differences. The secret realm of the righteous God is only similar in appearance, but not in spirit. No pavilion, no strange fragrance, no warm sun. From this point of view, the righteous God should have entered that source secret realm, and the memory of it has not been completely erased, so he remembered some pictures in the secret realm. But why did he say that this is what his childhood hometown looked like? Lin Mo couldn't figure it out for a while. I don't know what the assessment is like. Walking along the path for a while, he arrived at the pavilion. If the guess is correct, this pavilion is the first assessment point. Until he walked to the pavilion, the assessment that Lin Mo was waiting for did not appear. The ancient and vast aura rushed towards him, and Lin Mo was shocked at just one glance. The small pavilion seemed to become infinitely large, standing in the universe and starry sky, like a giant holding stars in his hands. Even the most powerful gods cannot hurt it in the slightest. But there are mottled traces on the pavilion, as if it has experienced a cruel battle. These are the traces left by a great battle. Lin Mo Yu was shocked for a long time before stepping into the pavilion. The pavilion has the characteristics of Divine Sha, or it should be said that Divine Sha has the characteristics of the pavilion, like the inheritance of culture. It belongs neither to this era nor to the last era. Source origin secret realm is ancient and untraceable. If Lin Mo Yu were to say, many characteristics of ancient China can be seen in the pavilion. After stepping into the pavilion, his eyes searched the 4 wooden pillars of the pavilion, but he found nothing. The pavilion has no seats and no tables, which is somewhat special. Finally, in the center of the pavilion's floor, Lin Mo Yu saw a handprint. Diaresis A, it should be here. Lin Mo Yu pressed his palm on it, and a suction force came, and the power of his soul uncontrollably drilled into the palm print. The pavilion suddenly lit up. A law silently drilled into Lin Mo Yu's body and entered the world of the soul. This law was extremely subtle, almost to the point of being undetectable. If it were replaced by another professional, they would definitely not be able to detect it. However, Lin Mo Yu clearly felt it, and then saw it through his soul. This law flew towards his soul, and it was impossible to tell whether it was good or bad. Lin Mo Yu's soul was incomparably pure, so naturally he would not allow external forces to enter. The 9-colored dragon soul crystal entrenched on his body let out a dragon roar and pounced, swallowing the law in one gulp. After chewing it a few times, it spat the law out again and sprinkled it on Lin Mo Yu's soul. The law after being chewed by it had turned into pure soul power. Lin Mo Yu felt that his soul level seemed to have improved. Because he was already at the god level soul level, the improvement was not significant. If it were replaced by professionals of other levels, it could at least improve the soul level by half a level to 1 level. It seems that this law should be the key to erasing memories. The law is responsible for erasing the memories in the secret realm, and the soul power contained in the law is considered a reward for those who enter the secret realm. This is really fair. No matter what the result of the assessment in the secret realm, you can get a good reward. If you pass the assessment, the memories in the secret realm will not be erased, and you will be able to bring them out of the secret realm. However, those who pass the assessment are unwilling to talk about what happened in the secret realm, which is really strange. Increasing the soul is very difficult, and it is not bad to be able to exchange it for an increase in the soul level. Most people cannot keep that source origin rune, and it is worth the trip to exchange it for an increase in the soul level. Lin Mo Yu was naturally not satisfied with this. He still wanted to keep that source origin rune, at least one of them. Feeling the 9-colored dragon soul crystal entrenched outside the soul, he once again deeply realized its extraordinariness. It can not only defend against soul attacks, but also resist laws. With it, the safety of the soul is greatly improved. Perhaps the role of the 9-colored dragon soul crystal is only this, and there are many other uses that he has not discovered. After all, it is a treasure of the dragon clan, far more powerful than he imagined. Lin Moyu already knew that, if there were no accidents, all his memories in the secret realm would not be affected. Even if the secret realm challenge fails. Chapter 626. The Secrets of the Ancients, the vast purple chi spreads for billions of miles. Lin Moyu withdrew his hand and stood in the pavilion, quietly observing the changes. The pavilion was shining brightly, and standing in it, one seemed to hear the roar of dragons and the howl of tigers. There also seemed to be the sound of battle with weapons clashing. The Source Origin Secret Realm is not dangerous, and no one has ever had an accident in that Source Origin Secret Realm, so Lin Moyu was not worried at all. He was just curious, what exactly is that Source Origin Secret Realm, hiding by using laws as a means to prevent people from knowing what happened in the Secret Realm? Is it something that cannot be made public, or is it that others are not worthy to know? Both possibilities exist, and only by experiencing it can one find out. Lin Moyu is now waiting for the answer to appear. The light became brighter and brighter, and Lin Moyu found that the pavilion had disappeared, and he was in the universe and starry sky. The universe and starry sky, countless star worlds flashed before his eyes. Countless powerful people appeared in the starry sky, each one terrifyingly boundless. Although it was just a virtual picture, Lin Moyu also knew that he was just an observer. But he felt very clearly that if these powerful people wanted to kill him, they didn't need to do anything at all, just a look would be enough to kill him hundreds or thousands of times. His so-called undead legion, various life-saving skills, and resurrection skills were all bullshit. But in the picture, tens of millions of powerful people joined forces, each with a nervous expression, as if waiting for something. Until someone appeared in the depths of the starry sky. These invincible powerhouses became nervous and their bodies rose with rolling killing intent. Block him. So many invincible powerhouses are joining forces to block the opponent. Who is that person? He is so strong that so many invincible powerhouses need to join forces, and each one is so nervous. The figure in the depths of the starry sky quickly approached. In Lin Moyu's sight, an old man in a green shirt appeared. He couldn't see the old man's face clearly, but he knew that this was an old man. The old man was wearing a green shirt, his long hair flying, riding a green ox and stepping into the starry sky. The Tao is always inactive, yet there is nothing it does not do. The highest good is like water, water benefits all things and does not contend. The Tao gives birth to one, one gives birth to two, two gives birth to three, and three gives birth to all things. At the same time as Lin Moyu saw the old man, the sound of chanting sutras rang in his ears. The old man rode on a green ox, seemingly slow but actually fast, and in the blink of an eye he had swept across the starry sky. Wherever he passed, invincible powerhouses died silently. Some were reduced to ashes, some fell from the stars, and none survived. Even if someone wanted to escape, they were trapped in the mud and could not escape. In an instant, thousands of invincible powerhouses were killed. The old man didn't even look at them. The old man's body was filled with vast purple energy, boundless and endless, disappearing into the starry sky. Wherever he passed, the blood of the strong turned into a star road, full of killing intent, vast and grand. Lin Moyu was shocked beyond measure. Such a fantastic scene appeared before his eyes, causing his mind to be greatly shaken. If it were replaced by someone else, their mind might collapse. Lin Moyu's shock was not limited to this, but also to the few sentences he heard in his ears. This is, the Tao Te Ching. How could I hear the Tao Te Ching? When he first obtained that Source Origin rune, saw the soldier character, and recognized something similar to ancient Chinese characters, he was already extremely surprised. Now he heard the Tao Te Ching in that Source Origin secret realm. He was even more convinced that this place was connected to ancient China. China, Divine Sha, Divine Dragon, characters. The vast purple energy filled the starry sky, the Tao Te Ching. There was a legend that Lao Tzu went west out of Henggu Pass, and the purple energy spread for 3,000 miles. The old man on the green ox, chanting the Tao Te Ching, also has vast purple energy. Could this invincible old man be Lao Tzu? One question after another, constantly arising. Lin Moyu felt a headache coming on. He never imagined he would witness something like this. He had no doubt about the authenticity of the scene, instinctively believing it to be real. Just as Lin Moyu was puzzled, the scene before him disappeared. Two large characters appeared in the starry sky, each character resembling a galaxy, occupying a vast expanse of space. The so-called planets and stars were as small as chicken eggs in front of these characters. The two characters shone brightly, rotating and floating in the starry sky. The two characters were the primordial runes he had mastered, the soldier rune and the traveler rune. In fact, these two characters were different from the fonts he had learned, but he could recognize them at a glance. It was like the traditional and simplified Chinese characters of the past. Many people can't write traditional characters and haven't learned them, but they can recognize them when they see them. This is the inheritance of the literary tradition. The two shining characters were constantly jumping before his eyes, revealing an indescribable aura of antiquity. Even more ancient than ancient Chinese characters. The font contains laws, incredibly powerful laws, stronger than anything seen before. Lin Moyu silently recited the two characters, and the starry sky shook violently. The back of his hand felt slightly hot, and the primordial runes on it also began to glow, resonating with them. The next second, the two ancient and primordial characters shattered before Lin Moyu, turning into countless specks of light that drilled into Lin Moyu's body. The specks of light occupied every corner of Lin Moyu's body, even his soul. This time, the 9-colored dragon soul crystal did not react, allowing the specks of light to enter. This indicated that the specks of light were not dangerous and would not cause any harm to the soul. The scene before Lin Moyu's eyes changed rapidly, and the sounds of fighting and killing came to his ears. The disgusting smell of blood drilled in, making Lin Moyu feel deeply uncomfortable. Lin Moyu considered himself to be decisive in killing. He had been upgrading all the way, killing many monsters and enemies. He had also waded through a sea of blood. Especially when facing the dragon race, he killed them in batches. He had experienced all kinds of scenes and was used to the bloody atmosphere. Even so, he had never seen such a terrifying bloody aura, making even someone as seasoned as him want to vomit. Suddenly, a drop of blood fell from the sky and hit him on the head. His vision turned completely red, not just red, but red with a hint of purple. The smell of blood entering his nostrils became even stronger, and he almost couldn't help but vomit on the spot. Lin Moyu immediately closed off his sense of smell and wiped the blood from his eyes. But even with his sense of smell shut off, the smell of blood still drilled in wave after wave, penetrating everywhere. This smell was hard to avoid and hard to disperse, directly affecting the soul. There was no way, he could only endure it. And the blood coming down from his face, red with a hint of purple, was as thick as a micro-jong paste. The blood actually reassembled into a cent tuan ball in his palm, as if it had life. The blood also contained immense energy, even emitting a dazzling light, making Lin Moyu unable to look directly at it. This is the blood of a strong person, the blood contains laws. Lin Moyu felt the aura of laws from the blood. He knew that only a strong person who had integrated the laws into their entire body would have such blood. There was only a trace of law in the essence blood of the god of poison, just a trace. And the aura of law in this drop of blood was terrifyingly strong, many times stronger than the god of poison. From this, it could be seen that the owner of the blood was countless times stronger than the god of poison. Lin Moyu looked up, the blood was coming from the sky. The sky was pitch black, not because it was dark, but because it was covered by some kind of creature. This creature was ridiculously large, Lin Moyu couldn't calculate its length, it truly blotted out the sky. This creature seemed to be fighting, and the energy it stirred up was enough to destroy the world. All the sensations were too real. Lin Moyu realized that he seemed to no longer be a spectator but had truly joined in. The existence in the sky was not on the same level as him, and even if he tried his best, he couldn't join in. Moreover, even a ripple of energy caused by the other party would be enough to kill him. Fortunately, there was an invisible barrier between him and it, blocking the aftershocks of the other party's attack. Lin Moyu came back to his senses from the shock and looked around. He knew that there would be no danger in the primordial secret realm and that his joining this seemingly real battle must be a test. Looking around, he saw enemies rushing towards him. Their aura was not strong, only slightly stronger than him. The enemies came from all directions, very many, countless. And he was alone. Lin Moyu was not flustered, he had encountered such things many times, fighting more with less was commonplace. He subconsciously wanted to summon the undead army, but found that the undead army was unresponsive. The summoning space still existed, the skills still existed, but they could not be used. It seemed to be sealed by some mysterious and powerful force. Lin Moyu clearly saw that his soul was carrying specks of light, and it was they that had sealed his skills. Without the undead army, and with other skills sealed, how should he cope? A dead end. Lin Moyu felt a moment of tension. It was only a moment, and then he calmed down. The test of the primordial secret realm does not have unsolvable dead ends. Since my skills can't be used, then only you two are left. His gaze fell on the backs of his left and right hands, the strengthened troops of the soldier rune and the gathering power of the traveler rune, which could indeed be used. The solution to the problem is on these. Chapter 627. Damn it, using my skills to deal with me. Facing the enemies rushing from all directions, Lin Moyu decisively activated the gathering power skill brought by the traveler rune. Gathering power gathers the power of a designated summon, inherits all the skills of the summon, and integrates some of the summon's attributes. Duration 5 minutes, cooldown 60 minutes. Lin Moyu flashed through the description of the gathering power skill. 5 minutes, not enough. There were too many enemies, 5 minutes was not enough to kill them all. He subconsciously checked his attributes and frowned. Lin Moyu, level 74, strength 1,000,000,000, agility 1,000,000, spirit 1,000,000, constitution 1,000,000, skills berserk bombardment, elemental riot, soul assassination, legion enhancement, legion recovery, elimination, charge, group defense, immunity. The 4-dimensional attributes, each attribute only has 1,000,000, which is pitifully small. In the state of not using the gathering power skill, his body's strength attribute is 430,000, plus the 500,000 bonus brought by the monarch scepter. The strength and agility attributes themselves reached 930,000. The constitution attribute even reached 1.03 million. Not to mention the highest spirit attribute, including the monarch scepter, it has exceeded 2 million. Now using the gathering power skill, the 4-dimensional attributes are averaged, and each attribute is only 1 million. It's actually weaker than not using the gathering power state. Lin Moyu felt that using this skill was a waste. Fortunately, he inherited skills from the skeleton, headless knight, and lich general. Having skills makes a huge difference. Lin Moyu first used the legion enhancement skill from the lich general. A legion enhancement level 7, all attributes increased by 70%, attack speed increased by 70%, casting speed increased by 70%, physical defense increased by 70%, elemental defense increased by 70%, control resistance increased by 70%, all attributes increased by 70%, reaching 1.7 million. Especially the 70% increase in attack speed, the effect is even more obvious. Lin Moyu felt his whole body was full of power and became light. At this time, the enemy was not far away. It begins. With excitement, Lin Moyu gave a low shout, activated the skill, and rushed towards the enemy. Skill, charge. Under the charge skill, the speed was as fast as lightning, 3,000 meters per second, an extreme speed that Lin Moyu had never experienced before. The storage space was also sealed, making it impossible to take out weapons. Since he had no weapon in hand, he would use his fists. But it didn't matter. Lin Moyu saw that the enemies had weapons, knives, spears, swords, shields, bows, everything, allowing him to choose. The enemy's appearance was a mass of black shadows, like thick smoke, making it impossible to see the specific shape. It seemed a bit close to human form, but constantly changing. Especially when Lin Moyu approached with a gale, the black shadows were blown from side to side. Each mass of black shadow was more than 5 meters tall, far exceeding Lin Moyu in size. Lin Moyu, carrying the charge skill, heavily crashed into a black shadow, and then punched out. With a loud bang, the black shadow exploded on the spot. The charge skill would cause 5 times one's own strength attribute as damage. The attack power was not small. The black shadow's body, the two-handed greatsword in its hand, had not yet fallen to the ground when Lin Moyu caught it. Lin Moyu had great strength, the greatsword weighing several thousand pounds. He held it in one hand effortlessly. Just as Lin Moyu killed a black shadow, the other black shadows had already pounced over, all kinds of weapons greeting Lin Moyu. The greatsword swept across, weapons collided, Lin Moyu's whole body shook. The opponent's strength was not much worse than him. Without using skills, the strength of both sides was comparable. He was slightly better. Arrows flew over with a whoosh. Archers had already launched an attack on Lin Moyu. At this time, Lin Moyu felt a force enter his body, but there was no time to feel what it was. He dodged the arrow to the side, but then more arrows flew over. Lin Moyu could only continue to dodge. The arrows were extremely accurate, seeming to have locked onto Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu dodged while fighting with the black shadows. He found that the black shadows not only had attack power comparable to his own, but even their combat skills were superb, not much worse than his own. If he didn't use skills, he really couldn't do anything about them. More and more black shadows surrounded him, and the space for Lin Moyu to maneuver became smaller and smaller. Lin Moyu made up his mind and activated a skill. Skill: Elemental Riot. A skill from the Skeleton Archmage. Lin Moyu did not lock onto any target, but launched an indiscriminate attack on the area within 100 meters around him. The elements exploded, colorful and beautiful. Lin Moyu was not sure whether this skill could kill the opponent. He had already gone over to finish them off while the elements were still exploding. After several consecutive sword strikes, another black shadow was killed, and Lin Moyu had another two-handed greatsword in his hand. Holding a two-handed greatsword in each hand, Lin Moyu danced them quickly. The elemental riot effect was good, severely injuring the enemy, and Lin Moyu also took the opportunity to kill several people. Lin Moyu found that every time he killed one, a strange aura would enter his body. This aura was very weak. If his soul was not sensitive enough, he would not have noticed it. However, Lin Moyu never had time to find the whereabouts of this aura. The surrounding black shadows were already increasing. Lin Moyu fought frantically in the group of black shadows, fighting to the point of madness. He had not had such close combat for a long time. This time he fought to his heart's content. Lin Moyu really liked this kind of close combat. He had joined the battle in close quarters many times, transforming into a knight leading his undead legion, and fighting bosses head-on. Lin Moyu felt that he seemed to have the potential to be a warrior. As time went on, Lin Moyu became more and more smooth in his fighting, and slowly figured out the Black Shadow's fighting style. He found that although their combat skills were very strong, almost perfect. Asking for flowers 0. But they were rigid and inflexible. Moreover, their vitality was extremely weak, often only one strike was needed to kill them. As a result, Lin Moyu began to trade injuries for lives. Without using skills, he exchanged his own insignificant minor injuries for the opponent's life. At this time, the Legion healing skill played a huge role. Some skin injuries could be healed with one treatment. Even if the injury was slightly more serious, at most 2 or 3 treatments would be enough. Under such circumstances, Lin Moyu threw skills when he had them, and traded injuries for lives when he didn't. The Black Shadows were quickly cleaned up. The first batch of Black Shadows that charged over numbered more than 1,000, all of them were cleanly killed by Lin Moyu. When there were no more Black Shadows in sight, Lin Moyu stopped. At this time, 5 minutes had long passed, and the gathering power skill was still there. Lin Moyu was surprised. He was sure that when using the skill, the feeling was exactly the same as before. 0. The skill time of 5 minutes would not be fake. However, as the battle progressed, the skill's duration seemed to be constantly increasing. It should be because I killed the Black Shadows. Killing Black Shadows can increase the skill duration. In that case, as long as I kill fast enough, then the gathering power skill can always exist. Moreover, fighting to the end, I felt like my strength seemed to have increased again, and the double swords became lighter. Lin Moyu checked his attributes. The attributes had indeed increased. Each attribute had increased to 2.04 million. 2.04 million attributes, that means the base attributes have reached 1.2 million. There were about 2,000 Black Shadows just now. Each one killed can increase 100 attributes. Lin Moyu understood. Killing Black Shadows could not only increase the gathering power, skill duration, but also increase base attributes. Moreover, Lin Moyu guessed based on his experience that the assessment could not only have one wave. There would definitely be a second wave, a third wave. If the test of the Source Secret Realm was so simple, then the success rate would not be so low. Sure enough, before Lin Moyu could catch his breath, new enemies appeared again not far away. This time it was a group of knights, flame knights. Their whole bodies were burning with fierce flames, wearing heavy armor. Even the mounts under them were covered with airtight armor. Lin Moyu judged at a glance that the opponent was not afraid of fire, and their defense was extremely high, definitely much more difficult to deal with than the Black Shadows. Flames streaked like streamers. The Flame Knights had already charged over. Lin Moyu's whole body tightened, and he couldn't help but shout, "Damn it!" The skill used by the opponent was actually the charge skill he had just used. They were actually using his own skill to deal with him. The charge skill was too fast, the distance of several kilometers was reached in the blink of an eye. Without thinking, Lin Moyu waved his double swords, skill, Elemental Riot. With himself as the center, a 100-meter radius exploded. Amidst the explosion, Lin Mo also unleashed his charge skill, wielding his dual swords as he charged forward. The power of Elemental Riot is directly related to the strength of one's mental power. As attributes increase, so does the power of the skill. Although the Flame Knights were not killed outright, they were still thrown into disarray by the blast. The charge skill was forcibly interrupted at the last moment. Lin Mo seized this opportunity and activated his charge skill. Two great swords, larger than himself, came slashing down. The charge skill unleashed an immense offensive power, cleaving the Flame Knight and its mount in two. Flames soared into the sky, and a surge of magical energy entered his body. The duration of the focus skill increased once again, and his attributes also received a slight boost. Lin Mo charged into the Flame Knight ranks, once again employing his previous tactics. Trading injury for life, a tactic that never failed. Although the Flame Knights had acquired the charge skill from Lin Mo, they clearly hadn't learned his style of trading injury for life. Despite their numbers, the Flame Knights couldn't form an effective encirclement. Lin Mo constantly moved and shifted, always keeping himself on the periphery, denying his opponents the chance to surround him. Flame Knights fell one after another beneath Lin Mo's 843 sword, his attributes increasing, making him stronger and more efficient as the battle progressed. This time, Lin Mo fought with even greater skill and ease. In less than an hour, the 1,000 seemingly powerful Flame Knights had been wiped out by Lin Mo. Any one of these Flame Knights, if taken out individually, would not be weaker than an 80th level Knight class player. Yet, even with all his skills sealed, Lin Mo, relying solely on the focused skill, could slaughter them, leaving none alive. This demonstrated the immense power of the skills granted by the primordial rune. Before entering the primordial secret realm, Lin Mo had considered that if he could only keep one of the two skills, he would choose the focused skill. From the perspective of superficial combat power, the army enhancement skill provided a greater boost. But Lin Mo always remembered the saying, one's own strength is true strength. He had high expectations for the focused skill, which, while not particularly strong now, might hold infinite potential in the future. Whether he was breaking through to the god level or even becoming a transcendent god in the future, it could allow his strength to increase by more than just one level. Lin Mo always held this idea in his heart, unwavering. Of course, if possible, the army enhancement skill should not be abandoned either. The combination of the two would undoubtedly be even stronger. When all the Flame Knights were wiped out, Lin Mo took a deep breath. Without the slightest fatigue, Lin Mo was surprised to discover that the divine power had not been sealed. Not only were his skills sealed, but even his talents were sealed. Yet, the divine power continued to function. Lin Mo understood the implications of this all too well. The source of the divine power was the divine province cauldron. Antares had once been shocked by the divine province cauldron, which was enough to show its extraordinary nature. Now that the divine power had not been sealed, it was safe to say that the divine province cauldron and the primordial rune belonged to the same level of items. If not higher. It seems I've gotten a great bargain. Lin Mo thought to himself, the mere existence of the divine power was enough to give him a huge advantage. The 7,400% fatigue recovery rate made him almost an tireless fighting machine. He could withstand high-intensity battles for days and nights without feeling tired. If it were someone else, even if they could win these two waves of battles, whether they could persevere was still a question. Lin Mo checked his attributes, which had increased again. Each attribute had increased by 200,000, and each base attribute had reached 1.4 million. With the skill enhancement bonus, a single attribute was 2.38 million, and the total attributes were 9.52 million, approaching the 10 million mark. Lin Mo had used focus more than once, and focus also had a limit. 9.99 million was the upper limit, and it was impossible to break through to the god level. This was a limitation imposed by the laws. But Lin Mo felt that perhaps in the primordial secret realm, this limitation could be broken. If he won another battle and his attributes increased again, he could experience the power of a god level with 10 million attributes in advance. This would also be helpful for him to break through to the god level. In Lin Mo's anticipation, the third enemy appeared. This time it wasn't a group, but only one. Appearing before Lin Mo was a humanoid creature. Wearing armor, its appearance was unclear. Its figure was 9/10 similar to Lin Mo's. Also wielding two great swords, also the same as Lin Mo's. Lin Mo was stunned. This guy was imitating him. Before, it was only imitating the charge skill. This time it seemed even more excessive, even the body shape and weapons were being imitated. What was going on? Lin Mo felt that all his skills might be imitated. Although this time there was only one enemy, it gave Lin Mo an even greater sense of danger. Without giving Lin Mo a chance to think, the opponent launched the charge skill and charged over. Lin Mo repeated his old trick, unleashing elemental riot as the opponent approached. This time there was no need for a range attack, the target was only one, directly locked on. The explosion burst open, Lin Mo's eyes narrowed, he saw a different light, the light of group defense. Then the opponent charged out of the explosion, wearing a group defense skill. Sure enough, it has learned all my skills. Looking at its aura, its attributes should also be close to mine. I wonder if my tactic of trading injury for life has also been learned. Lin Mo was awe-stricken, not daring to be careless, and directly attacked with his sword. Both sides were wielding two-handed great swords with one hand, and the four swords clashed, deafening. Ripples were created in the space, spreading outward like waves, layer upon layer, and the entire world was distorted. The strength of both sides was very close, almost on par. The same was true for fighting skills. Lin Mo traded injury for life, and the other side did the same. Lin Mo healed his injuries, and so did the other side. Lin Mo gritted his teeth, not only imitating his skills, imitating his attributes, but also imitating his fighting style. It was simply fighting himself. The two fought endlessly, sword shadows flashed, and neither could do anything to the other. Lin Mo changed several fighting styles, and various skills took turns. But the other side could also do it, and it was useless at all. Especially with the existence of healing skills, it was too heaven-defying. Even if Lin Mo seized the opportunity and injured the other side, it could heal in 2 or 3 moves. Lin Mo realized at this time how difficult he was to deal with. How desperate it would be to become his enemy. At least he was quite desperate now. It seems that I can only compete in endurance. You can imitate my skills, imitate my attributes, but you definitely can't imitate the divine power. Lin Mo placed all his hopes on the power of divinity. The power of divinity cannot be sealed, indicating its extremely high level, and it probably cannot be imitated. If the opponent's endurance is also infinite, then there's no need to fight, he might as well just surrender. Lin Mo gritted his teeth and launched a frenzied assault. The opponent did the same, counter-attacking furiously. As a result, energy consumption increased sharply. Relying on the power of divinity, Lin Mo possessed astonishing recovery in both physical and mental strength. After fighting like this for half a day, a smile finally appeared on Lin Mo's lips. His opponent was tired, their speed began to decrease, and their attack power weakened. At their level, even a slight difference was like heaven and earth. Lin Mo's offensive became even more violent, each sword faster than the last. Every sword strike was with full force, and he once again used the tactic of trading injuries for life. He knew that he had to exhaust the opponent as quickly as possible to gain an overwhelming advantage. Sure enough, after hundreds of sword strikes, Lin Mo seized an opportunity. A sword slashed across the opponent's neck, the blade breaking through the armor and directly decapitating them. He breathed lightly, not because of fatigue, but because of victory. He had finally won, finally defeated himself. This is just me with my skills sealed by 5.8. If I were to encounter myself with all skills activated, it would probably be even more troublesome. Lin Mo had deeply realized how strong he was, knowing that he was indeed a difficult opponent. He silently mourned for his enemies for 3 seconds. At the same time, Lin Mo became vigilant. He saw the colossal creature in the sky that blotted out the sun, which was a truly powerful existence. And there were so many invincible experts in the starry sky, as well as the Azure Ox old man who annihilated them into slag. These were the real powerhouses, he was nothing in comparison. Then, a strong smell of blood wafted over. The smell of blood had disappeared during the battle. Now it spread again. Once again, a drop of blood fell from the sky, hitting Lin Mo's head and turning him into a bloody mess again. Lin Mo didn't dodge, because he couldn't dodge at all. The blood was what brought the bloody smell. The bloody smell of a single drop of blood was comparable to a sea of blood. Then, drop after drop of blood fell, all hitting Lin Mo. Lin Mo was like he was caught in a bloody rain, his whole person had turned into a man of blood. The laws within the blood slowly seeped into Lin Mo's body from all over. Chapter 629, Soul Enhancement, Ignoring Laws. Lin Mo couldn't stop the infiltration of the laws. These laws from the blood of an unknown powerhouse were extremely powerful and terrifying. The laws also entered his soul, without causing a reaction from the 9-colored dragon soul crystal. They had no malice. Since he couldn't stop it, he could only enjoy it. The laws stirred the energy flowing through his body, and also stirred his soul power. The constraints in his soul seemed to weaken, and wisps of soul power flowed out. The laws that poured into his body fused with the soul power, and finally converged into a sea, rushing towards the warrior character on his right hand. All the power entered the warrior character. The warrior character on the back of his right hand burst out with unprecedented light, shining brightly. Hot, very hot, like a ball of flames burning fiercely on the back of his hand. In the firelight, the warrior character detached from the back of his hand and appeared before Lin Mo. Because of the soul power, Lin Mo could clearly sense that the warrior character before him had a wonderful connection with him, as if it were a part of himself. He had never had this feeling before. Even if a skill belonged to him, he didn't have this feeling of soul connection. More blood fell from the sky. Drop after drop fell on the warrior character, dyeing the warrior character into a red and purple color. The massive laws seeped into it, and the warrior character began to change shape. The character twisted and began to shrink, all the strokes were bending. Finally, the warrior character turned into a bead only the size of a fist. Skill Star Nucleus. Lin Mo was greatly shocked. He didn't expect that the warrior character would leave his body and, after being irrigated by the blood of an unknown powerhouse, would actually turn into a Skill Star Nucleus. Lin Mo instinctively reached out to take it, when suddenly the Skill Star Nucleus turned into a stream of light and instantly drilled into Lin Mo's brow. Immediately afterwards, a Skill Star Nucleus appeared in his soul. His soul shook violently, and at that moment, all the constraints in his soul were released, and his soul power was completely liberated. Lin Mo had a flash of insight, and a large amount of soul power was continuously poured into the Skill Star Nucleus. Inject soul power to increase the fusion degree. Now nothing was more important than this. All of Lin Mo's consciousness was concentrated on this, and soul power was injected frantically, regardless of the cost. The improvement of the fusion degree was very difficult, and the first time was the best opportunity to improve the fusion degree, and he couldn't miss it. Lin Mo appeared calm on the surface, but inside he was surging. Lin Mo mobilized his soul to such an extent for the first time, completely disregarding the consequences. He only wanted to improve the fusion degree now. As soul power was injected, the Skill Star Nucleus began to shine, and layers of gold appeared. Seeing this, Lin Mo increased his efforts, knowing that the more he put in now, the more he would gain later. He had 3 experiences, and he had enjoyed 3 soul feedbacks. The soul power after the Skill Star Nucleus would become more refined, and the level of the soul would also be improved accordingly. After his soul level was raised to the divine level, he had been making slow progress. The Domain God Stone continued to use the enchanting blue fire to improve the soul, but the effect was getting weaker and weaker, and it would soon reach its limit. The 9-colored dragon soul crystal had a strong effect, but it was also a slow improvement, and it would take a lot of time to polish. On the contrary, the soul feedback of the Skill Star Nucleus could enhance a lot at one time. Now he was very close to the 91st level of soul level, only a line away. Lin Mo believed that after this soul feedback, his soul level would be able to smoothly step into the 91st level. The higher the soul level, the more refined the soul power. Normally speaking, the soul level of a professional was similar to his level, and the soul level would mostly be weaker than the level. Soul energy was relatively easy to obtain, just fight monsters. And the improvement of soul level was much more difficult, and it was passively improved in most cases. It was precisely this situation that made it difficult for professionals to achieve the divine level. When they reached level 88 or 89, they would stop and find it difficult to make progress. But Lin Mo took a completely different path from ordinary professionals. Under various adventures, his soul level far exceeded his own level. Now his soul level was a large barrel, and his soul energy was the water in the barrel, which was not full at all. Lin Mo was not in a hurry to fill the bucket, he was more concerned about improving the quality of the bucket and increasing the capacity of the bucket, so that he could hold more water in the future. Under Lin Mo's soul infusion at all costs, this skill star nucleus from the origin rune finally reached its limit. Lin Mo felt a sense of being completely drained, as his soul power was utterly exhausted. Even with the help of divine power, he couldn't withstand such consumption. His soul became parched, a very unpleasant sensation. Lin Mo even felt a sense of drowsiness, wishing he could collapse and sleep for 3 days and 3 nights. However, Lin Mo wore a smile on his face, he could feel that the connection between him and the skill star core was closer than ever before. Even surpassing his own 3 skill star cores. The origin rune's skill star core was truly powerful, Lin Mo hadn't expected it to absorb all of his soul power so completely. Unlike his own skill star cores, which became saturated after absorbing only a little. It finally absorbed its fill, constantly spinning within Lin Mo's soul, faster and faster, showing no sign of stopping. During the rotation, it continuously spewed out pure soul energy. This soul energy came from Lin Mo, but now, after being transformed by the skill star core, it became even purer. His soul, like parched land, received nourishment and instantly became full again. The skill star core spun faster and faster, Lin Mo couldn't count how many rotations per second, feeling it definitely exceeded tens of thousands. The soul energy also spewed out more and more. The level of his soul was gradually rising. Lin Mo was happy to see such a mutually beneficial win-win situation. Accompanied by a silent tremor, his soul took a step forward, finally reaching level 91. The skill star core also completely took root in Lin Mo's soul. It was still spinning rapidly, completely different from the other 3 skill star cores. Even now, it showed no sign of stopping. Lin Mo realized that it might keep spinning like this forever. It glowed with golden light, startling Lin Mo. Could the fusion degree have reached 100%? Impossible. Antares had once told him that before becoming a super god, the skill fusion degree had a limit of 99%, impossible to reach 100%. But the skill star core before him was indeed entirely golden, pure and incomparable. Judging by sight alone wasn't accurate, Lin Mo checked with an excited heart. Power gathering fusion degree 99%, consumes soul power, gathers the power of summons, inherits all skills of summons, the attributes after using skills are only limited by the user's own soul level. Killing enemies in a power gathering state allows harvesting the enemy's soul, replenishing own soul consumption, and increasing own soul level. Sure enough, the fusion degree was 99%, Lin Mo guessed that the last bit of fusion degree should be located at the core center of the star core. It was estimated that he would have to wait until he became a super god to increase the skill fusion degree to 100%. However, a 99% fusion degree was already extremely strong, he shouldn't be too demanding. Looking at the skill's attributes again. Transforming from a rune on the back of his hand into a skill star core, and finally merging into his soul, the skill would inevitably undergo some wonderful changes. First, there was no limit to the usage time, as long as soul power was sufficient, he could maintain the power gathering state indefinitely. The attribute limit after power gathering was only limited by the user's overall level. The implication of this sentence was that it ignored the laws. Lin Mo was excited, his soul level was now level 91. If he used the power gathering skill, could he also reach level 91, becoming a god in one step? Oh no, one skill would give him true god level combat power. And the most important change was that killing enemies in the power gathering state allowed him to harvest their souls, replenish his own soul consumption, and also increase his soul level. What was this? Completely sustaining combat with combat, growing stronger with each battle. I wonder, if I use the Undead Legion to kill enemies, can I harvest their souls? Lin Mo felt he was being whimsical, but without experimenting, who could know? Little one, have you finished looking? Just as Lin Mo was thinking, an old voice suddenly sounded. It was too quiet all around, not even wind existed in the secret realm. Moreover, there was no one around Lin Mo, if someone appeared, his soul would naturally react. The sudden voice startled Lin Mo. Lin Mo opened his eyes and saw an old man, looking at him with a kind smile. Chapter 630. Origin Skill, 9-syllable incantation. Startled, Lin Mo quickly calmed down and respectfully bowed to the old man. Greetings, senior. The old man had a kind and benevolent face, repeatedly saying, no need for formalities, no need for formalities. He was being polite. Lin Mo wouldn't dare to take it seriously, the proper etiquette still had to be observed. Lin Mo knew that being able to appear before him silently, without even triggering his soul's alert, such an existence must be extraordinary. The old man seemed very satisfied with Lin Mo's attitude. How is it? Are you satisfied with your origin skill? Senior, are you saying that what I obtained is called an origin skill? Lin Mo heard the term, origin skill, for the first time. The old man smiled meaningfully. What? Is there something inappropriate about the skill's name? Lin Mo quickly shook his head. There's nothing inappropriate, it's very fitting. Origin rune, origin secret realm, origin skill, they indeed had a sense of continuity. The skill came from the origin rune, calling it an origin skill was indeed very fitting. The old man said with a smile, see that big bird in the sky. Lin Mo looked at the behemoth in the sky, it blotted out the sun, what he saw was just the tip of the iceberg, he couldn't tell what kind of creature it was. But since the old man said it was a bird, then it should be a bird. Lin Mo could only nod, I see it. The old man said with a smile, it's not its true form, just a phantom. The true form is 10,000 times larger than this. Lin Mo was startled again, it was already blotting out the sky. Standing below, he only saw a part of it, its body length was estimated to exceed hundreds of kilometers, not smaller than a city. If it was magnified 10,000 times, wouldn't it be comparable to the sun, moon, and stars? Could there really be such a huge creature in the world? Lin Mo didn't hide his shock, the old man seemed very satisfied with this effect, saying with a smile, it's called the origin bird, possessing origin bloodline. The origin bloodline is a treasure, extremely precious. Unfortunately, it possessed a treasure but wasn't strong enough, didn't know how to use it. Eventually, it was captured and killed by an invincible expert, who used its blood to refine the 9-syllable incantation. Lin, Bing, Do, Jie, Jia, Zhen, Lai, Zai, Qian. The old man said each word, his tone slightly flat. But each word made Lin Mo's heart tremble like an earthquake. The origin rune actually came from this. The old man continued, experts from all worlds fought over the 9-syllable incantation, staining the starry river with blood. My master obtained the 9-syllable incantation, created the origin secret realm, and transformed the 9-syllable incantation into 9 origin runes. Speaking to here, the old man stopped, no longer continuing. Lin Mo knew that he had already said enough, from these few words, he had already revealed too much information. Origin bird, invincible expert, the master of the secret realm. Combining it with the scene he saw when entering the pavilion earlier, Lin Mo guessed, could the old man's master be the old man riding the green ox? And that old man, could he be the Taoist ancestor in Chinese legends, Lao Tzu, who wrote the Tao Te Ching? Lin Mo didn't dare to ask, if the other party didn't say, he couldn't ask. He understood this principle, without enough strength, the more you know, the faster you die. Lin Mo's thoughts raced, then the origin bird was just captured and killed like that. Monsters are killed, aren't they all able to revive? The old man laughed heartily, laughing incomparably happily. Right. Monsters that are captured and killed can all revive. Lin Mo remained expressionless, analyzing the meaning behind the old man's laughter. Although the old man had a kind face, he looked like a harmless old fellow. But such beings were capricious, and one should never judge them by appearances alone. Lin Mo was accustomed to being cautious, and immediately followed the old man's words. Then, is it possible to repeatedly hunt the source bird and continuously obtain the 9 true words? He pretended to be ignorant, but his heart was as clear as a mirror, guessing that once the source bird died, it was highly unlikely to be resurrected. Otherwise, countless powerhouses wouldn't have stained the starry river with blood for the sake of the 9 true words. He only wanted to show his ignorant side in order to learn something from the old man's mouth. The old man laughed for a long time, appearing extremely happy, almost to the point of tears. After he had his fill of laughter, he finally said, I won't tease you anymore. Little fellow, your world has rules that restrict it, and monsters can indeed be resurrected after death. But the source bird is different. There is only one source bird. Once it dies, it is dead. Although the source bird cannot be resurrected, the source origin runea formed by the 9 true words can be infinitely replicated and exist in various forms. However, wanting to make the source origin runea reach the level of a true word is something that can only be hoped for but not reached. A look of disappointment appeared on Lin Mo's face. Is there no way at all? The old man shook his head. It's not that there's no way, but it's just too difficult. With just one of the 9 true words, if you can master it, you'll have a chance to become an invincible powerhouse. How can it be so easy to achieve? This old man has researched for countless years. The old man stopped again, still unable to continue. Lin Mo still wore a disappointed expression, as if he hadn't heard the old man's words, invincible powerhouse. Then your master, having obtained all 9 true words, isn't he super invincible? The old man was amused again. My master's realm is beyond your and my comprehension. The master doesn't value the 9 true words. But having said that, you're not bad either, being able to obtain 2 source origin runes and transform one of them into a source skill. The rules of your world are really a bit strange. I don't know which supreme existence created these rules. They are very interesting. Lin Mo revealed an expression of incomprehension, seemingly not understanding the old man's words. The old man didn't mind and continued, enough with the small talk. Next, let's talk about your second source origin runea. Lin Mo respectfully bowed. This junior is all ears. The old man said, the source origin runea originates from the 9 true words. Obtaining 1 is a great opportunity, and obtaining 2 is an even greater opportunity. But since ancient times, there have been many who have obtained the source origin runea, but very few who can ultimately obtain a source skill. You have already obtained 1 source skill, which is already an unparalleled opportunity. Regarding the second source origin runea, the old man's meaning was very clear. He didn't want Lin Mo to continue. But he didn't say it explicitly. Lin Mo had experienced similar not C-section ascent, realizing that perhaps there were some rules restricting the old man, preventing him from speaking plainly. However, his meaning was already very clear, so clear that even an idiot could understand it. Lin Mo did understand, but he still pretended not to understand, even appearing somewhat eager. What about the second source origin runea? Please tell me clearly, senior. The old man's eyes flickered. He couldn't discern anything from Lin Mo's expression. If Lin Mo was over 50 years old, he could be sure that Lin Mo was pretending not to understand. But Lin Mo was too young. He could tell that Lin Mo's bone age was less than 22 years old. Such a young man might really not have understood the meaning in his words. But he couldn't say it explicitly. According to the rules in the secret realm, he could only answer Lin Mo's questions. If you want to turn the second source origin runea into a source skill, then the difficulty will increase exponentially. I suggest. Before he could finish speaking, Lin Mo said eagerly, my teacher once told me that no matter how difficult the road ahead, one must try. A true warrior should not fear failure. Even if he dies and loses his head, it's just a bowl-sized scar. After 18 years, he'll be a good man again. Moreover, I believe that senior will definitely not watch me die. According to the records of our human race, no one who enters the source origin secret realm has ever died, not even been injured. The corner of the old man's mouth twitched. Lin Mo's words actually gave him a feeling of being unable to refute. Of course, the source origin secret realm wouldn't let people die, but that was later. The corner of the old man's eye flickered slightly. Have you ever thought that the reason no one dies is because those who come out are all alive? And the truly dead will not speak to the outside. Lin Mo knew what he meant, which was to tell himself that it was possible for people to die, but the dead wouldn't speak outside. But Lin Mo heard a hint of urgency in his words. Clearly, the old man didn't want him to continue. This further confirmed his guess that there must be something fishy. He immediately said, Senior, I've decided, I must try. If I really die, then I'll just consider myself unlucky, not destined enough. The old man stared at Lin Mo for a long time without speaking. Lin Mo had a sincere face, full of anticipation. He looked like a young man who didn't know the dangers of hell and was about to rush in headfirst. In the end, the old man could only follow the rules of the secret realm. Since that's the case, then let's begin. Chapter 631. Want to kill me, but you have to be able to kill me. The old man slowly faded and disappeared before Lin Mo's eyes. In the last instant of his disappearance, Lin Mo saw a hint of ferocity in the corner of his eye. He wants to kill me. Lin Mo's heart trembled, but he didn't dare to react in any way, still maintaining his previous sincerity. He couldn't tell at all whether the old man was still here, and the act could only be carried out to the end. The bloody smell that went straight to the soul rose again, and a drop of blood water fell from the sky. This time Lin Mo had experience, letting the blood fall on his head. He knew that this was the source bird's blood, and the blood contained the source bird's laws. Because the source origin runea was evolved from the 9 true words. And the 9 true words were refined from the source bird's blood. So the source bird's blood has the effect of activating the source origin runea. After passing the assessment, the source origin runea must also be completely stimulated with the source bird's blood, and finally become a source skill. So this drop of blood, Lin Mo had to take. The blood also contained tyrannical laws, and talents and skills were sealed again. However, this time was different from the previous time. This time, not all skills were sealed. All summoning skills were not sealed. And there was also the power of divinity, which was high above and also unaffected by the seal. Looking at the shining source origin runea on the back of his left hand, it was still just a source origin runea and had not yet been transformed into a source skill. Strictly speaking, it was still an external object and did not belong to him yet. The purpose of the assessment was to see how effectively he could use it, to what extent he could use it, and whether it met the requirements of the assessment. Judging from the previous assessment, with 3 major battles in a row, he basically couldn't have passed without the power of divinity. If it were another profession, that is to say, if there were no other special abilities, it would be impossible to pass. It was precisely because of this that so few people have obtained source skills over the years. After the blood dripped, no enemies appeared after a while. Lin Mo's expression became even more solemn. He realized that something was wrong. Earlier, when the old man left, the killing intent in his eyes was real. This shows that he seems to have the ability to kill himself in the secret realm. Perhaps there were some loopholes in the secret realm that he found. However, Lin Mo could be sure that he couldn't do it himself, so there was only one way to kill himself, which was to use the assessment. The difficulty of the assessment should be very high, high enough to kill himself. In this way, even if his master blamed him, he couldn't say anything. Moreover, how powerful was his master? How could such a small existence like himself be noticed by the other party? Many things had questions, and Lin Mo didn't have answers yet. Many clues were still entangled, and he needed time to sort out his thoughts and analyze them. Now was not the time. Along with black smoke falling from the sky, Lin Mo felt extremely intense energy fluctuations. Close to God level, Lin Mo was shocked. Black smoke landed and then exploded. The earth and sky, in all directions, were filled with countless enemies. Among them were humans, dragons, and demons. Each one held swords and sabers, filled with murderous intent. Lin Mo glanced around, seeing an endless expanse, totaling over 100,000, and each one possessed strength close to God level. They were either level 88 or level 89. Lin Mo was confident in his judgment. These enemies were extremely powerful. Then, 3 more plumes of black smoke fell from the sky, transforming into 3 steel giants over 10 meters tall. The giants radiated a true God-level aura. This wasn't even designed for anyone to pass. Lin Mo's eyes gleamed, and he abandoned all pretense. 3 God-level giants and 100,000 warriors close to God-level strength. Such a lineup would be impossible for any professional to overcome. Forget that he was only level 74, even in level 89 would be instantly killed. The opponent intended to kill him, and they certainly had the means to do so. But was he really that easy to kill? Lin Mo's expression turned serious, and he muttered to himself, if it were anyone else, they would certainly die. But me, that's not certain. If it were before, when summoning the Skeleton King failed to transfer the soul, it might have been a bit troublesome. But now, it's just a slightly higher level Thunder Tree Wind Flower formation. This group of seemingly powerful enemies was already regarded by Lin Mo as a Thunder Tree Wind Flower. With a thought, the Undead Legion appeared all at once. This time, there was no holding back. The Undead Legion went all out. Because the strong soldier skill was related to summoning skills were not sealed. The Undead Legion was the skill Lin Mo relied on for survival. No other skill, no matter how strong, could surpass summoning. The Undead Legion was the signature of a Necromancer. A total of 172,800 Undead Legion members appeared around Lin Mo, filling the sky and the earth. The outermost layer consisted of 43,200 headless knights, their bodies emitting silver-white flames, their aura imposing. Behind the headless knights were 43,200 skeleton berserkers, each wielding a sharp axe. The level 74 legendary skeleton berserkers had reached a height of about 3 meters, and their bones had a golden sheen. At the rear of the formation were skeleton archmages and skeleton marksmen. The undead legion exuded deathly energy, with silver-white light mixed with thunder-fire-colored death energy. The whole scene was eerie and sinister. The Lich generals immediately began to apply buffs, and pillars of light soared into the sky, enveloping the undead legion. Their momentum continued to rise, and their attributes increased sharply. Although Lin Mo knew that they were still a bit behind the enemy, the difference wouldn't be too great. He had an absolute advantage in numbers, coupled with the undead legion's immortal characteristics, making this battle a guaranteed victory. Kacha! Boom! As the undead legion appeared, thunder rumbled in the sky. Lin Mo looked up, but saw nothing. But he knew in his heart that the old man must be shocked. Seeking fresh flowers. Lowering his head, a smile appeared at the corner of his eyes, surprised. There's more to surprise you. The summoning wasn't over yet. The elemental liches moved out collectively. Rings of light appeared beneath the feet of the undead legion. Flame aura, gale aura, frost aura, earth aura, lightning aura, holy light aura, undead aura, poison aura. The 8 auras alternated and intertwined, one ring after another. Thunder rumbled in the sky again. The old man, hidden somewhere, now had a slightly distorted expression. What kind of skill is this? How can there be such a skill? Rules, damn rules. Why won't you let me interfere? I've already found that loophole. Why is it like this? But it's okay, this kid doesn't have any god-level subordinates. But in the next second, his eyes widened and his mouth gaped open. He staggered back half a step, too frightened to move. Dark clouds filled the sky, and the entire secret realm became a dark mass. 2 skeleton thrones, one large and one small, appeared in the air. 2 skeleton kings slowly rose from the thrones. The skeleton kings were also one large and one small, one of which radiated a god-level aura. The other was weaker, far from god-level. The god-level skeleton king was summoned by Lin Mo using 100,000 skeletons. The other skeleton king was summoned using 20,000 skeletons. The number of skeletons used differed by a factor of 5, so naturally there was a huge difference. This time there was no thunder in the sky. Lin Mo chuckled to himself, aren't you surprised this time? Think this is over? If I'm not mistaken, during the assessment, the duration of the strong soldier skill is far more than 30 seconds. It should be like the gathering strength skill, where killing enemies increases the skill's duration. In that case, with a thought, Lin Mo launched the first attack. The Headless Knights launched a charge, rushing out like flaming meteors. At the same time, Lin Mo activated Strong Soldier and the momentum of all the Undead Legion members rose again. Under the effect of the Strong Soldier skill, the Undead Legion was no weaker than the opponent. Moreover, they completely overwhelmed the opponent in terms of numbers. The old man hiding in the dark was completely numb. He had lived for countless years, but he had never been as shocked as he was today. What skill has this kid's soldier character transformed into? Why is it so strong? I've never seen anything like it. This kid is not only invincible at the same level, but killing enemies above his level is as easy as eating and drinking. Even in the myriad worlds, he is a 1 in a million genius. Amidst his shock, the great battle began. The 2 skeleton kings simultaneously raised their bone great swords. Skill: Godslayer. The god-level skeleton king, who had reached level 92 in his peak state, targeted the 3 steel giants. The fewer targets the Godslayer skill attacks, the slightly greater the attack power. The other skeleton king tried to lock onto as many targets as possible. Chapter 632, When the Strong Soldier skill can become permanent. Sword light erupted, creating a dazzling light on the battlefield. The 3 steel giants flew backwards in the sword light. Their seemingly hard steel bodies were smashed to pieces in the sword light like tofu dregs. With just one sword strike, the 3 steel giants were nearly killed. Although there was only a 2-level difference between level 90 and level 92 at its peak, the strength differed by several times. Especially the Skeleton King's Godslayer sword, the power of which exceeded the limit of level 92. On the battlefield, a large number of sword lights appeared, and countless enemies were beheaded on the spot, split in 2 with a single strike. As a power aggregate of 20,000 skeletons, coupled with the buff from the Strong Soldier skill, although not yet at the God tier level, it was enough to instantly kill existences below God tier. The skill's power was too great, so great that these guys couldn't resist it. Rumbling sounds exploded. The Skeleton Kings moved very fast, following up the god-slaying sword with elemental chaos. They didn't skimp on their skills. No tactical arrangements were needed, as 2 skills were enough to instantly kill most enemies. The steel giants were completely blasted to pieces, dead beyond dead, and a large number of enemies were also blasted to death. The 2 skeleton kings, one in front and one behind, separately charged into the enemy ranks, starting close quarters combat. The giant swords swung wide, sword energy crisscrossing, sending countless enemies flying. Beneath the giant bone swords, there was no match for them. The headless knights also collided with the enemy, their charge skills erupting with astonishing power, knocking the enemies off their feet. Whether in the sky or on the ground, without exception. The headless knights' swords were equally sharp, and they slashed just as mercilessly. The skeleton berserkers followed closely, immediately throwing out the frenzied slaughter skill, striving to kill more enemies in the first instance. The skeleton archmages and skeleton sharpshooters had also taken action. After reaching the legend grade, their attack range had become astonishingly large. Even Lin Mo, the master, didn't know how far their specific attack distance was. Anyway, their limit hadn't been discovered yet. Elemental chaos, identical to that of the skeleton kings, but with slightly less power. But the skeleton archmages were numerous enough, and explosions rose one after another. The skeleton sharpshooters and soul assassins never missed a shot. Although these enemies were only created through some special means, to pursue realism, they even possessed something similar to souls. As if each enemy was a true living being. Lin Mo couldn't help but sigh at the Secret Realm Master's superb and inconceivable methods. Compared to using puppets for assessment, it was many times better. Lin Mo believed that 100,000 warriors and 3 god-tier existences were not the Secret Realm's limit, nor were they the Secret Realm Master's limit. At most, it was the limit that the old man could reach. As soon as the battle broke out, Lin Mo's side established an absolute advantage. The god-tier skeleton kings, with their tyrannical posture, instantly killed 3 god-tier steel giants with just 2 skills. Then, they charged into the battlefield, launching a massacre. The headless knights also wreaked havoc, riding their flame-bone horses, galloping across the battlefield. They stepped on halos, freezing, flames, lightning strikes, poison, all kinds of halos acting on the enemies. They were already severely wounded before the battle even began. The storm halo further greatly increased the headless knights' movement speed, making their actions even faster and more erratic. Whether they were humans, dragons, or demons, they couldn't resist their attacks. Lin Mo discovered that although these humans, dragons, and demons created by the Secret Realm had powerful auras, they weren't actually that strong. Their skills were chaotic and disorganized. They had power but didn't know how to use it. If I remember correctly, it should be the skill memories left behind by the 3 races who previously entered the assessment Secret Realm. They were eliminated too early, so the skills they left behind were pitifully few, or even non-existent. That guy just imitated them, resulting in a hodgepodge. This assessment was too easy for Lin Mo, not even as challenging as the previous one. The enemy who completely simulated Lin Mo did give Lin Mo a headache. But now, Lin Mo only issued one order, and the rest was left to the Undead Legion to freely play. The strong soldier skill did work as he thought, as the skill's duration continued to increase as he slaughtered enemies, still existing after 30 seconds without entering cooldown. Actually, whether it entered cooldown or not was no longer important. This assessment had turned into a one-sided slaughter. Killing them all was only a matter of time, and it wouldn't even take long. In less than 10 minutes, the battle ended. Under the Undead Legion's unbridled slaughter, the 100,000-strong army was utterly defeated, with no survivors. Lin Mo looked at the sky, his eyes filled with sincerity, appearing harmless. One couldn't tell that he was actually the master of the Undead Legion, who had just slaughtered 100,000 troops. Lin Mo was waiting for the second round of assessment, but instead of the assessment, he received blood. The source bird's blood fell from the sky with a strong fishy smell, first dripping onto his body. The previous scene replayed. Lin Mo was slightly stunned. The assessment is over. It ended after only 1 round. Didn't they say the difficulty would double? He thought there would be a second round, a third round. Wasn't it a bit of a joke? But it was good that it was over. The longer the night, the more dreams. All he wanted was the source skill, as long as he could get it. The sound of thunder rang out again in the sky, this time not just one sound, but many sounds. The old man didn't appear, he expressed his anger with the sound of thunder. As for whether Lin Mo could understand it, it didn't matter. Lin Mo, bathed in blood, looked up at the sky and said to himself, perhaps it's the limitations of the rules that prevent him from taking action himself. Lin Mo was very clear that if he could take action himself, he would surely die. His whole body was covered in blood, and the bloody smell was extremely strong. Then all the blood seeped into his body, and it couldn't be seen from the surface. The laws in the blood flowed through his body, becoming a bridge between the soul and the origin rune. The soul energy with Lin Mo's mark, driven by the power of the laws, surged towards the origin rune. After receiving the power of the laws from the source bird, the origin rune was truly activated, appearing in front of Lin Mo in its second form. A large, soldier, character appeared in front of Lin Mo, floating in midair. Then drops of blood fell from the sky, dripping onto the soldier character. Having experienced it once already, Lin Mo had experience and knew that this was the last step in converting the origin rune into a source skill. The conversion needed to be done through the source bird's blood. Lin Mo couldn't help but praise again, the secret realm master's methods were indeed superb. The sound of thunder stopped at some point, and the surroundings returned to silence. Lin Mo realized that the other party should have given up. The rules of the secret realm were not something he could fight against. Perhaps he could make some small changes, but he couldn't change the overall situation. He could only watch helplessly as he obtained his second source skill. Soon, the skill star core transformed from the soldier character also appeared in front of him, and then with a whoosh, it drilled into his soul world. The power of the soul boiled again, frantically pouring into the skill star core. But because Lin Mo had consumed too much soul energy before, although his soul level had improved a lot after the feedback, the consumed soul energy was still consumed. After the tireless recovery of the power of divinity, it had not yet fully recovered, only recovering to about 2/3 of its peak. If I had known, I should have dragged out this assessment longer. Lin Mo realized that he had acted too quickly. Perhaps because he didn't want to give the other party a chance to find trouble with him again, Lin Mo killed very decisively. As a result, it backfired, leading to insufficient soul energy. I wonder what the fusion rate will be this time. We can only do our best and leave the rest to fate. Lin Moyu was also helpless. One can't ask for perfection in everything, one must be content. He understood this principle, and the disappointment was only fleeting, as he quickly figured it out. A sense of emptiness came from within Lin Moyu's soul, and the strong soldier skill star core stopped absorbing. Like the gathering power skill star core, the strong soldier skill star core also began to spin rapidly. Because of insufficient soul energy, its rotation speed was not as fast as the gathering power skill star core. Other than that, everything else was the same. It also fed back soul energy, allowing Lin Moyu's soul level to be improved again. Strong soldier fusion rate 50% consumes soul power, increases the basic attributes of oneself and all summoned creatures by 200%, and additionally increases the damage caused by all attacks by 500%. The increase in attributes is only limited by the user's own soul level. When killing enemies while the skill is active, you can harvest the enemy's soul to replenish your own soul consumption and increase your own soul level. Chapter 633. When strength arrives, the answer will naturally appear. When a powerful skill that originally could only last for 30 seconds, a skill used to save lives or kill powerful enemies, becomes permanently active. Lin Moyu couldn't imagine how much his strength would increase. He felt that even leveling up 3 or 5 times wouldn't provide such a big improvement. The only pity was that the fusion rate was not high enough, only 50%. If he wanted to increase the fusion rate further in the future, it would be much more difficult than the first time. It's already very good, can't be greedy. Stop when you're ahead, too much greed will lead to trouble. Lin Moyu warned himself that everything must have its limits. He felt that the space seemed to be distorted for a moment. A wonderful fragrance entered his nose, and the warm sun shone on his body, seeming to sweep away all fatigue. When Lin Moyu opened his eyes again, he found himself back in the pavilion. Returning to the pavilion again, the soul level had improved a lot between the back and forth, and the perception became more acute. Being in the pavilion, in addition to the ancient and vast feeling, there was also a sense of heaviness. Previously, Lin Moyu was concerned about the assessment and did not observe carefully. Now that the assessment was over and both skills had been obtained, his mind completely relaxed, and he sensed the heaviness hidden in the ancient vastness. No, besides the heaviness, there is also a hint of killing intent. Lin Moyu frowned slightly, he really sensed that killing intent. There was no mistake. This pavilion was a weapon, and it was a weapon that had fought on the battlefield, killed enemies, and seen blood. Many people had been killed by it, and they were all strong. Otherwise, this kind of killing intent would not remain undispelled for countless years. Like the aura left on him by the Dragon Clan, this was also the aura left by the strong before their death. Little friend guessed correctly. Suddenly, a voice came from the front. Lin Moyu looked over and saw a stone table appearing not far outside the pavilion at some point. An old man was sitting by the table, with tea already brewed on it. The fragrance of tea drilled over along with the voice. Originally, the secret realm was already filled with a strange fragrance, but the strange fragrance still could not cover the tea fragrance. This tea was extraordinary. Lin Moyu could be considered to have drunk a lot of good tea, and the tea from Meng Yanwen's place was all top quality. But compared to this, it was too far off. Lin Moyu walked out of the pavilion and walked over. Only when he got closer did he see the old man's appearance clearly. His whole person was instantly stunned on the spot, and he only reacted after a few seconds, hurriedly saluting and greeting him, "Greetings, senior." The old man was the one in the starry sky who rode the green ox and killed countless powerhouses with a wave of his hand. Lin Moyu once suspected that the old man was Lao Tzu in Chinese legends, but he didn't dare to ask. The old man had a smile on his face. "Little friend, do you have many questions?" Lin Moyu nodded, but then immediately shook his head. The old man's smile remained unchanged. "Little friend, you both nod and shake your head. Nodding is instinct, wanting to ask. Shaking your head is restraint, not daring to ask. Afraid that the more you know, the faster you die." Lin Moyu looked at the old man with shock. His thoughts were actually guessed by him. It would be fine if it was really a guess, but if it wasn't. Lin Moyu's back was already dripping with cold sweat. The old man continued, "Little friend is thinking that if I guessed it, that would be fine. If I didn't guess it, then it would be a bit horrifying." He knew again. Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat, and he stopped thinking too much. He simply said directly, "Senior, please stop teasing this junior." The old man pointed to the stone bench beside the table, "Sit down and have some tea." Lin Moyu shook his head. "With senior present, this junior dares not sit, this junior will just stand." The old man said, "Then do you want me to keep looking up to talk to you?" Lin Moyu smiled awkwardly again and was about to sit down immediately. Before sitting down, he suddenly picked up the teapot and poured a cup for the old man and himself. The tea was colorless, like clear water. But the fragrance of tea was overflowing. Lin Moyu sat down, stared at the tea in the cup, and couldn't help but praise, "This tea is extraordinary." The old man laughed, "You haven't even tasted it yet, how do you know this tea is extraordinary?" Lin Moyu said, "The fragrance of tea is overwhelming, even the strange fragrance in the secret realm can't suppress it." "What else?" Lin Moyu strengthened his courage and continued, "Also, tea has a tea color, but this tea is colorless. It has fragrance but no color, which proves that this tea is even more unusual." The old man nodded and smiled, "Although it's just a random guess, it can be considered that you have passed. Since you say this tea is extraordinary, then drink it. Thank you for senior's generous gift." Lin Moyu did not hesitate and directly picked up the tea and drank it. The tea was like clear water, without any taste. The tea did not enter the throat, it directly turned into gas in the mouth. Then, a stream of pure air rushed straight to the soul. The 9-colored dragon soul crystal did not react in any way, allowing this stream of pure air to enter the soul. The soul was like bathing in sweet rain, and an indescribable sense of comfort came. The soul level increased sharply, almost increasing by 1 level in the blink of an eye, reaching level 92. The higher the soul level, the more difficult it is to improve. It took him a long time to go from level 90 to level 91, but from level 91 to level 92, it was only the effort of a cup of tea. Senior's methods are truly inconceivable. Lin Moyu had to sigh, from the bottom of his heart, with utmost sincerity. He had already figured out that any hidden tricks were useless in front of the old man. It was better to be straightforward and open, which would be better. If the other party really had malicious intentions towards him, no trouble was needed, a single glance would be enough. The old man asked, "Now you are finally sincere. Why does a good child have so many thoughts?" Lin Moyu gave a wry smile. "There are too many mysteries in the world that I cannot solve, and I always want to find the answers. Some answers cannot be obtained without a little cleverness." The so-called mysteries in your eyes are like a clear mirror in my eyes. Do you know why? The old man asked. Lin Moyu now answered whatever he thought in his heart, since he couldn't hide it anyway: strength, realm, experience. The old man was quite satisfied with Lin Moyu's answer. Not bad, so what? Lin Moyu continued to follow the old man's words. So, there is no need to use too much cleverness, and there is no need to pursue the answers too early. When strength arrives, the realm is there, and experience is broad, the answer will naturally be known. The old man gave a hum and also took a sip of tea. One method leads to 100 methods, there is no need to be deliberate. The more deliberate, the more inferior it becomes. You only need to maintain a childlike heart and continue to climb higher, and the answer will naturally appear. Lin Moyu's eyes lit up. This junior has remembered it. The old man continued to ask, do you know why Ghost Husband wants to kill you? Lin Moyu heard the name Ghost Husband for the first time and immediately realized that Ghost Husband was the old man who had presided over the assessment earlier. Lin Moyu shook his head. I don't know, but I think it should be related to my second source skill. The old man nodded. Then have you ever doubted whether the starry sky ancient road you saw before was real or not? Lin Moyu told the truth. I had doubts, but my intuition tells me it's real. You really did destroy countless powerhouses with a wave of your hand. The old man smiled. Since that's the case, Ghost Husband claims to be my servant, how dare you disobey him? Lin Moyu smiled awkwardly, knowing that his little trick at the time hadn't fooled the other party. I just didn't want to give up the source skill, and at the same time, I didn't dare to offend him. Ha 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 ha. The old man laughed, laughing very happily. Lin Moyu suddenly felt that the person called Ghost Husband also laughed like this. It should be said that Ghost Husband's laughter was imitating the old man in front of him. Not just the laughter, Ghost Husband's every move was imitating the old man in front of him. He only imitated the form, but didn't imitate the spirit. The old man's every move was natural, with a sense of Taoism and nature. Ghost Husband, on the other hand, seemed a bit deliberate, which was one of the reasons why Lin Moyu had doubts about him at the time. After laughing a few times, the old man spoke again. You are very smart, you started to doubt him early on. His words are both true and false. It's true that I asked him to be responsible for managing the assessment space, but it's false that he's my servant. He wants to kill you, and it's indeed because you want to get the second source skill. That's because of a bet I made with him. As for what the bet is, do you want to know? Lin Moyu shook his head quickly. I don't want to. You said that when the strength, realm, and knowledge are reached, the answer will naturally come. The old man laughed again. Good, 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 applying what you've learned, you're indeed very good. Lin Moyu said sincerely, thank you for your guidance, senior, I will keep it in mind. The old man said, I will now give you a chance to ask a question. You can ask one question, just one. No matter what the question is, I will tell you the truth. The old man's words were very clear. He wanted to see what kind of question Lin Moyu could ask. If he asked too deeply, even if he answered, Lin Moyu wouldn't understand, and something might happen. If he asked too shallowly, it would only disappoint him. It has to be said that a question is another test. Lin Moyu thought for a while, mustered his courage. Can I really ask anything? Yes, I will answer every question. The old man slowly sipped his tea, listening with his eyes closed. Lin Moyu took a deep breath. Ghost Husband wants to kill me because of the second source skill. I want to know the reason why. He spoke cautiously, while closely watching the old man's expression. Chapter 634. Can't think about it anymore, can't think about it anymore. From the old man's expression, he couldn't see any useful information. Lin Moyu was slightly disappointed, gritted his teeth, and threw out his question. He didn't know if the question he asked was right or wrong, whether he should ask it or not. But Lin Moyu had thought a lot in the short moment just now, and he could sort out most of the questions himself. Only this question, he knew that Ghost Husband wanted to kill him, and he also learned from the old man that the reason lay in his second source skill. But why this was the case, Lin Moyu couldn't figure it out. The old man seemed to be drinking tea, but Lin Moyu had a feeling that the old man should be looking at him. After he finished speaking, the two fell into silence. The wind seemed to have stopped, all the plants and trees were silent, and the entire secret realm was extremely quiet. Clatter. The old man put down his teacup, making a slight collision sound, which at this moment was like a thunderclap on a clear day. The old man always had a smile on his face, but Lin Moyu wouldn't let down his guard because of this. With this kind of existence, it's really impossible to judge their emotions. Lin Moyu was very patient, waiting for the old man to speak. After a while, the old man finally spoke. You are very pragmatic, you haven't deviated from the essence. Lin Moyu could tell that this was praising him. The old man continued, Ghost husband should have told you that the blood of the source bird is refined into the 9-syllable mantra, and the 9-syllable mantra is divided into 9 origin runes which in turn become source skills. Lin Moyu nodded. Ghost husband did say that. Although he believed it at the time, he didn't believe it completely. The old man looked at the teacup, and Lin Moyu immediately understood, pouring a cup for the old man. But he didn't pour one for himself. This tea was too precious, he wouldn't pour it before the old man spoke. The old man picked up the tea and took a small sip. Ghost husband didn't lie, you don't need to doubt it. But he still concealed something. Source skills, origin runes, 9-syllable mantra, all come from the same source, and ultimately come from the bloodline of the source bird. When someone masters a source skill, the impact is not significant. If they master more source skills, and they merge with each other, then it is possible to return to the origin. Lin Moyu showed a look of surprise. Return to the origin, can they reproduce the source bird's bloodline and re-extract the 9-syllable mantra? The old man chuckled, you think too simply, that's naturally impossible. Lin Moyu thought about it, and it was impossible to be so simple. The bloodline was divided into 9, and each mantra only accounted for 1/9 of the bloodline. And the source skill he obtained, he didn't know how much it only accounted for a fraction of one of the mantras. It could be said to be a fragment within a fragment, and wanting to reproduce the source bird's bloodline with such a fragment was simply creating something out of nothing, a fantasy. Lin Moyu almost laughed at his own idea. The old man said, although it is impossible to reproduce the source bird's bloodline, there is a chance to master the 9-syllable mantra. Relying on a single source skill is extremely difficult, almost impossible. But if there are multiple source skills, mutually verifying, merging, and comprehending, there is hope. Although the old man didn't answer directly, Lin Moyu had already understood. The reason why Ghost Husband wanted to kill him was because he didn't want him to obtain the second source skill. If he had chosen to withdraw from the assessment at the time, he wouldn't have been hostile to him. He had inadvertently established a great enemy. Lin Moyu could only sincerely hope now that the other party couldn't leave the secret realm and would stay here forever. As for himself, he estimated that he would never come in again in this lifetime. As for what impact his obtaining the second source skill would have on Ghost Husband, Lin Moyu didn't ask any more questions. He knew he wouldn't get an answer even if he asked. The old man had already said before that he had a bet with Ghost Husband, which was probably related to this. Lin Moyu said sincerely to the old man, thank you, senior, for clearing up my confusion. If I encounter Ghost Husband in the future, I will be careful. The old man laughed, aren't you thinking in your heart that it's best if he can never leave the secret realm, and you will never see him again? He was right again. Lin Moyu smiled awkwardly, do you have mind-reading skills? Just an old man becoming a spirit. The old man said lightly, then tapped the table twice. Lin Moyu understood, the old man was telling him that this was the second question. The old man had only given him one chance to ask a question, and he had already used it, so he shouldn't ask any more. Strength determines status. With the old man's strength, being able to give him the qualification to talk and give him a cup of tea to improve his soul level. Lin Moyu was already full of gratitude. If the old man was unwilling, he wouldn't even have the qualification to stand in front of him. The old man said, in this world, the previous era still produced a few good characters. They led the era forward, but unfortunately, the road went astray. Their decline was continued by time, which in turn affected you, and your road has become even more difficult. More than 1,000 years ago, there was a decent fellow, but unfortunately, he couldn't become a leader of the times. More than 600 years ago, there was also a guy whose aptitude was passable, but unfortunately, he lacked stamina. More than 100 years ago, another one appeared, full of vigor, but too conservative, not a suitable candidate. The old man's gaze swept over Lin Moyu. I wonder if you are qualified to become the leader of this era in this world. Lin Moyu responded, I will try my best. I hope you can do it, don't let this old man down. The old man waved his hand. Heaven and earth turned upside down, the sun and moon changed. Lin Moyu disappeared into the secret realm. The old man looked at the pavilion and said to himself, ghost husband, ghost husband, the loopholes you can find are all those that I am willing to let you find. This time it's just a slight punishment, if there is another time, you will be completely annihilated. As he spoke, thunder rumbled in the secret realm, and a gust of wind suddenly blew into the pavilion. Immediately, screams came from the pavilion. It was the voice of the ghost husband. The old man turned a deaf ear and slowly said, little guy, don't let me down, Outside the secret realm, Lin Moyu suddenly appeared. A meteorite happened to fall from the sky, and it also happened to smash beside Lin Moyu, less than 10 meters away. In the roaring explosion, the shockwave swept over. Lin Moyu allowed the shockwave of the explosion to hit him, and a faint white light appeared on his body. All skills had been restored, and the damage transfer skill was taking effect, transferring all the damage to the Undead Legion. Affected by the talent, the damage transfer skill reduced all damage by 80 times, and the damage suffered by the Undead Legion was extremely limited. Even if dozens more meteorites of this level exploded, Lin Moyu wouldn't even frown. Looking at the entrance of the secret realm shining in the explosion, and then at the origin rune that had disappeared on the back of his hands. Everything was real, not a dream. He had completed the assessment and permanently retained the origin rune, turning them into source skills, turning them into skill star cores integrated into the soul. From now on, these would be skills that forever belong to him. Not only that, because of his near-perfect performance, the 2 source skills he obtained were not weakened, but even stronger than before. Lin Moyu took out the dragon scale given by Antares and activated it. Antares closed his eyes, his head drooping to the ground, looking as if he was sleeping. The occasional twitching eyelids indicated that Antares was not asleep. The heavy breathing constantly coming from his nose also proved that Antares was not in a good mood at the moment. He hadn't let go of the dragon god's matter. He had already swallowed the dragon pearl given by the dragon god. Although he hated the dragon god, the dragon pearl was really a good thing, and Antares couldn't possibly refuse it. He was fusing the dragon pearl, which would take a lot of time. Suddenly, Antares opened his eyes, and Lin Moyu appeared not far away. Diaresis why is this brat back? Thinking in his heart, just as he was about to speak, he saw Lin Moyu with his eyes tightly closed. Antares realized something and didn't disturb Lin Moyu, but winked very tacitly. The surroundings suddenly became quiet, and all the noise disappeared. What is this brat thinking? He seems to be racking his brains a bit. Antares was a little curious. He knew that Lin Moyu was very smart. For most things, as long as Lin Moyu grasped a bit of detail, he could analyze a lot of information from it. For this reason, he had paid a considerable price. He often accidentally revealed loopholes in his words that were caught by Lin Moyu. Even he himself didn't know how many times he had slipped up, so he could only try to speak as little as possible. In his eyes, Lin Moyu was a little fox who liked to trick dragons into talking. It's just that he didn't expect that Lin Moyu had met an old fox, and didn't trick out much information. Lin Moyu constantly replayed everything that happened in the secret realm in his mind, the words spoken by the ghost husband and the old man, word by word, analyzing them bit by bit. Also, all the scenes he saw in the secret realm were sorted out one by one. The experience in the secret realm was like a movie, constantly replaying in his mind. Lin Moyu faintly felt that he was approaching a huge secret. Unknowingly, sweat dripped from his forehead. He thought of a sentence, the more the weak know, the faster they die. No, I can't continue to explore, something will happen if I keep thinking. Why can't I know about the outside world? There must be a reason, I can't think anymore, I can't think anymore. Chapter 635 Don't mention it, don't think about it, and don't ask. Lin Moyu was sweating all over, and his body was trembling a little. He kept telling himself that he couldn't think anymore, he couldn't think anymore. But those secrets seemed to possess endless magic, making him unable to help but keep thinking and exploring. He wanted to open his eyes, but he was a little out of control. Seeing that something was wrong, Antares suddenly let out a dragon roar. The dragon roar roared and drilled into Lin Moyu's soul. At the same time, the 9-colored dragon soul crystal outside the soul also let out a dragon roar, resonating with Antares's dragon roar. Lin Moyu's soul was shocked by the dragon roar, and then his whole body trembled, finally waking up. Antares breathed a sigh of relief. Brat, what exactly are you thinking? Your soul was almost exhausted, it will hurt your foundation. Lin Moyu gasped for breath. At this moment he had a feeling of escaping death. His memory was a little blurred, but at the same time he had a sudden realization. What was blurred was the question he was thinking about just now. He seemed to have sealed his own thoughts, forcing himself not to think anymore. The sudden realization was because he knew why the few people who had successfully obtained source skills avoided talking about what happened in the secret realm. They must know what the secret realm is like, but they never publicize it, not a single word leaks out. It's not that they don't want to say it, but they can't say it, they can't even think about it. Lin Moyu guessed that they should use self-sealing to seal this memory. Seeing that Lin Moyu was not talking again, Antares couldn't help but leaned over and asked, Hey, are you okay? Are you stupid? Lin Moyu shook his head. I entered the origin secret realm. Isn't that normal? You were originally going to find the origin secret realm, how did it go? Did you succeed? Antares didn't take it seriously. With his mindset, he didn't think deeply. 063. Lin Moyu said, I succeeded, both skills were successfully retained. Antares was a little excited. I knew it, if you couldn't retain the skills with your ability, others wouldn't even think about it. How was it? Was it difficult? It's okay, I went through a few assessments, it wasn't too difficult. Lin Moyu told the truth, it really wasn't too difficult with his ability. That's right, your strength far exceeds the same level. Roar. Halfway through his words, Antares suddenly realized that something was wrong, and suddenly let out a roar. Brat, you still retain the memory of the secret realm. Lin Moyu nodded. Yes. Antares became excited. Tell me quickly, what is the situation in the secret realm? Lin Moyu asked strangely. You don't know? Nonsense, why would I ask you if I knew? Antares looked annoyed. From the last era, as long as people who went in, didn't have the memory of the secret realm. Lin Moyu had completely calmed down at this time. Didn't you say that you know everything? Antares snorted heavily, a little annoyed. Stop talking nonsense, tell me quickly. Lin Moyu smiled mysteriously. You really want to know? Antares glared at Lin Moyu fiercely. If you dare not tell me, the dragon, will swallow you in one gulp. Of course, Lin Moyu knew that this guy was joking with him. He immediately sat down and motioned for Antares to come closer. Antares lowered his large head, almost leaning against Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu deliberately lowered his voice. There's a pavilion in the secret realm, and inside the pavilion, there's an independent space. But before entering the independent space, I saw a scene. Among the stars, there are countless powerful figures, an old man riding a blue ox, with purple energy filling the vast starry river. Antares suddenly let out a dragon roar, interrupting Lin Moyu's words. The deafening sound made Lin Moyu's ears ache. What are you doing? He heard fear in Antares's dragon roar, and at the same time, he saw it in Antares's eyes. Antares shook his large head. Don't say it anymore. Lin Moyu frowned. What's wrong? Antares said in a deep voice, remember, that person's affairs cannot be mentioned or spoken of to outsiders. If you say too much, it will bring about a fatal disaster. Lin Moyu asked strangely, I've already left the secret realm. Antares shook his head like a rattle drum. It's useless, it's all useless, it doesn't matter where you are. Even if you reach the deepest part of the starry sky, as long as you mention his name, it will be heard. Lin Moyu couldn't believe it, but I don't even know his name. From beginning to end, he only guessed that the old man riding the blue ox and giving him tea might be the legendary figure named Lao Su. But he wasn't sure, it was all just his guess. Antares said, you've seen him, you can think of his appearance, and with your words, that's enough for him to hear. Lin Moyu couldn't help but ask, is he that scary? Antares said solemnly, his terror is beyond your imagination. Remember my words, do not mention, do not think, do not ask. Do not mention, do not think, do not ask. Antares's tone was very serious, making Lin Moyu realize the seriousness of the matter. Before, he was thinking about the bits and pieces that happened in the secret realm, trying to analyze what the outside world was like. Among them were many images of Lao Tzu, and countless powerful figures, including the source bird. He thought too much at once, unable to extricate himself. Especially the old man who resembled Lao Tzu appeared repeatedly in his mind. It was like being under a curse, making him unable to escape. Now, hearing Antares' words, Lin Moyu realized the seriousness of the matter. Even when facing the dragon god, Antares was not afraid. But now, he was truly afraid. A being that even Antares feared was truly something he couldn't think about. Lin Moyu made a decision, deciding to put this matter in the depths of his memory, and absolutely not touch it until he had powerful strength. However, he was always a little unwilling in his heart, and couldn't help but say, "Antares, have you heard of the name Ghost Husband?" The scales on Antares' head stood up like sharp blades. He slowly turned his head, his expression slightly stiff. Where did you hear this name?" Antares' performance made Lin Moyu feel the problem. It was in the secret realm. That guy wanted to kill me. But because of the rules in the secret realm, he couldn't attack me. Antares' eyes darted around, and suddenly he shouted loudly, I understand, so he actually went there. Lin Moyu asked, "Is Ghost Husband terrible? More terrible than that one?" Antares shook his head. "Ghost Husband is not terrible, but cruel. Compared to that one, Ghost Husband is nothing. I'll say it again, about the things in the secret realm." Lin Moyu interrupted Antares, "Don't worry, I know what to do. I'll just mention it to you, and I won't mention it again in the future." Only then did Antares feel relieved. He knew Lin Moyu, and since he said he wouldn't mention it, he really wouldn't mention it again. Lin Moyu's caution was something that even he had to admire. Lin Moyu changed the topic and talked about his experience on the Wind and Thunder continent. He talked about the behemoth hidden under the Thunder Mountain range. Speaking of this, Antares became energetic, changed his cautious appearance, and began to talk eloquently. "That guy, he's the Thunder God's companion beast, and later became the Thunder God's mount. After the Thunder God died in battle, it was also seriously injured, and it was sleeping and recuperating under the Thunder Mountain range. The Thunder Tree actually grows on it. It uses the Thunder Tree to absorb the power of thunder and lightning to restore itself. As for why it can stay on the Wind and Thunder continent, that's naturally my doing. But you don't have to worry, it's usually sleeping, and even if it wakes up, it can't leave that area. If you want to upgrade by relying on the Thunder Tree, just keep your distance from it. Do you want me to say hello to it and tell it not to attack you?" Antares returned to his usual appearance, completely forgetting about what happened just now. Lin Moyu didn't expect that being was actually the Thunder God's companion beast. No wonder it was so powerful. It could stay on the Wind and Thunder continent without being restricted by the laws because of Antares. Lin Moyu said coldly, "Do you know that you almost killed me?" Antares scoffed, "Who knew you were going to hit the Thunder Tree? If you hadn't mentioned it, I would have forgotten about it. I've lived for countless years, witnessed countless eras and events, and done too many things. How could I remember such a small thing?" Lin Moyu smiled, "You just sleep and sleep, how many things can you do? And you don't get up early without profit. You are willing to help the Thunder God, there must be a reason." Antares said sullenly, "I have my reasons for taking action." The two chatted and argued with each other. Lin Moyu usually speaks too little and rarely communicates with people. But when he is with Antares, he speaks quite a bit. At first, he spoke more just to get some information. Later, he really regarded Antares as a friend. Antares was also lonely, without friends for many years. The lonely one dragon and one human just hit it off. Chapter 636 Meng Anwen, by Yiyuan, about to break through. In the White God courtyard, vast auras rose and permeated. The God Summer Tower kept spinning in the air, constantly showering light. Meng Anwen sat cross-legged in midair, enveloped by his own soul power, boiling like boiling water. Refining impurities, removing the dross and retaining the essence. The soul was rising, and Meng Anwen's aura became stronger and stronger. Powerful soul power filled the entire White God courtyard. On the ground, something similar to Meng Anwen was also happening to Bai Yiyuan. His soul power was also constantly rising. The two were advancing from level 95 towards level 96. Originally, the two had reached the peak of level 95 and touched the power of law. But it was only touching, and they couldn't drive it, always half a step away from level 96. After the Soul Fusion Array battle, the soul power of the two greatly increased, and the soul level improved. Finally, they formally incorporated the law into the soul, thus taking the last half step. Outside the White God courtyard, Yan Kuangsheng, who had already reached level 96, sat cross-legged in midair, holding a large knife. He was protecting the two. Although there was no danger in the White God courtyard, he was still careful. Bai Yiyuan and Meng Anwen's soul power became stronger and stronger, and finally merged together, and suddenly spread outward. Thousands of miles in an instant, almost instantly covering the thousands of miles around the White God courtyard. Within this range, all beings with soul strength reaching the God level simultaneously raised their heads, looking towards the location of Bai Shen's small courtyard. The soul aura of level 96 generated a powerful diaresis of Wa-Ia-En, awe-inspiring might causing them to tremble. They knew what was happening. Bai Yiyuan and Meng Anwen had previously released the news that they were about to break through to level 96. Yan Kuangsheng had also spoken, forbidding anyone from approaching during the breakthrough, with death as the consequence for those who disobeyed. All the God-level powerhouses who sensed the aura dared not approach. Level 96 was high-level God level. Level 95 was mid-level God level. Seemingly only one level apart, but the difference was like heaven and earth. Level 96 was the true beginning of contact with the laws, and once a breakthrough was successful, combat power would increase dramatically. Skills would integrate with the laws, and the strength of the skills would reach an astonishing level. Among the human race, apart from a powerhouse at the half-step transcendent God level, there were no high-level gods. This could be considered a fault line. Until recently, the fault line had been filled. Following Yan Kuangsheng, Bai Yiyuan, and Meng Anwen, old powerhouses such as Mo Xinghai and Ning Taran would break through before long. By then, the strength of the human race would greatly increase. With them guarding the empire, the Divine Sha Empire would be flourishing and invincible. Among them, only a few people knew that all of this was brought about by Lin Mo. Otherwise, the soul-devouring beast would not be an opportunity but a disaster. While Bai Yiyuan and Meng Anwen were undergoing their breakthroughs, Lin Mo had already returned to the human world. He had argued with Antares for half a day, resulting in an unhappy parting. Antares realized that he was too clumsy with words and could not out-argue Lin Mo. All these years, he had truly lived in vain. Antares angrily drove Lin Mo back to the human world, telling him not to return. Of course, these were just angry words. However, this argument between the two had suppressed other matters. Lin Mo no longer dwelled on what happened in the A-Source secret realm, burying this memory deep within and not touching it. He was not qualified to touch it now. Lin Mo came to Kun City again, standing in Kun City where he could remotely view Mount Kunlun. Kunlun Shrine, high-level dungeon. The level 75 dungeon allowed people from level 70 to 80 to enter. This was a dungeon belonging to top-tier professionals. After the screening of the low-level and mid-level dungeons, very few people were qualified to enter the high-level dungeon. Even if there were, they only belonged to some large forces. Almost all casual players stopped at the mid-level dungeon. Lin Mo stepped onto the snowy mountain, climbing upwards. The wind was fierce and the snow was heavy, whistling from the north. On the way to the low-level dungeon, wind and snow were a considerable test. At least it could make 1/3 of the professionals retreat. This section was also the section with the greatest wind and snow. After a long time, Lin Mo revisited the Kunlun Mountains. Last time he left, he was less than level 70 and had not yet completed his third job advancement. Although his soul was strong, it had not reached the God level. Now that he returned, he had already completed his third job advancement and embarked on a path unique to himself. His soul level had even reached level 92. Looking at Mount Kunlun again, his feelings were already different. Now his soul was incomparably sharp. Under Lin Mo's perception, Mount Kunlun was lifeless and without vitality. At that time, in the Kunlun Shrine dungeon, Lin Mo had felt that the Kunlun Mountains in the dungeon seemed to carry a kind of vitality. But looking at Mount Kunlun outside the dungeon, it was a dead silence. Standing at the foot of the mountain, Lin Mo stood with his hands clasped and his eyes closed, and the power of his soul flowed out like a river. Centered on the main peak of Mount Kunlun, a radius of 10,000 meters was a dead zone. Under the snow were black rocks, lifeless, and without a blade of grass. The power of the soul began to spread into the mountain. In the upper part of the mountain, Lin Mo finally discovered something unusual. He sensed a little bit of vitality, strands and wisps, flowing along a specific channel towards the interior of the mountain. And this vitality was actually coming from the professionals outside the mountain. Lin Mo was slightly startled. Mount Kunlun was actually absorbing the vitality of the professionals. However, it absorbed it very slowly, and the amount was extremely small, which would not cause any damage to the professionals. The professionals themselves had strong vitality. The higher the level and the stronger the soul, the stronger the vitality. Being absorbed a trace of it, they could not even detect it. The power of the soul continued to deepen, and this vitality flew towards the top of the peak along a specific channel, along the inside of the mountain. When approaching the top of the peak, Lin Mo sensed an array. An extremely complex and profound array. The array was not large in scale, not as large as the soul fusion array. However, this array arranged inside the Kunlun mountain peak was extremely profound, far more complex than the soul fusion array. Moreover, when the array was running, the aura of laws was revealed. God-level array, and it's a God-level array integrated with laws. The array blocked Lin Mo's soul perception, preventing him from continuing to deepen. If he wanted to know what was behind the array, he could only go there in person and see it with his own eyes. The array contained laws, indicating that this array was at least level 96. And the existence that could arrange such an array must also exceed level 96. There were currently no level 96 array masters in the human race. This array was left over from the past. Moreover, in Lin Mo's knowledge base, even in the history of thousands of years, there had never been a level 96 array master in the human race. If Meng Anwen could reach level 96, he would be creating a precedent in this era. This array either does not belong to this era, or it does not belong to the human race. Demons do not know arrays. If the dragon race came to arrange the array, they would definitely not escape the eyes of God-level powerhouses. Lin Mo kept thinking in his mind and quickly got the answer. This array either belongs to the previous era, or it was set up by a god. At this time, he felt someone approaching, and he could not help but stop thinking, open his eyes, and turn his head to look. At this time, the power of the soul had not been completely restrained, and the light in Lin Mo's eyes flickered, stabbing out like a sharp sword. The person who came over suddenly let out a scream, and the whole person was struck hard, staggering back several steps, and sitting on the snow. If Lin Mo had not retracted the power of his soul at the last moment, the other party's soul might even have been directly shattered by him. Now he was just startled, which was considered good luck. Lin Mo asked, "Is there anything wrong?" At this time, several of his companions had run over to help him up. He looked over 30 years old, wearing a magic robe, obviously a mage. Lin Mo could see his level 61, not strong or weak. He looked at Lin Moyu with a strange expression. "I saw you standing there motionless, and I thought you were frozen, so I came over to take a look." Lin Moyu looked at himself, not a single snowflake on his body, how could he look like he was frozen? However, he had indeed stood for quite a while, using his soul power to explore the mountain for about half an hour. Standing motionless for half an hour, it's normal to attract attention. Lin Moyu shook his head and said, "I'm fine." As he spoke, he walked towards the mountain. Watching Lin Moyu walk away, that person felt extremely strange. What a weirdo, strange, how could I be scared by his eyes? His companions also expressed their confusion. Being scared by someone's gaze, such a thing had never happened before. "Bro, you're too timid." "That's right, how can you do this? If you encounter a more ferocious boss, wouldn't you be so scared that you can't even release your skills? You need to practice your courage more. Let me see what you can eat to boost your courage, I'll get you some." That person was teased by his companions, waving his hands dejectedly. "Go, go, go, don't make fun of me." Everyone laughed heartily. They were all in the same team, and had known each other for many years, who didn't know who. It was just a joke. That person looked at Lin Moyu, who was about to disappear into the wind and snow, and muttered, "But his eyes, they're really a bit scary." Chapter 637, It Can Only Be Him. Lin Moyu walked leisurely, each step seemingly landing on the snow, yet not landing on the snow. The road he walked on had no footprints. He could have flown, but he didn't. He measured Kunlun Mountain, his soul power spread again, following the strands of life force, he arrived outside the formation. He is not a formation master, and doesn't know how to set up formations. But this doesn't prevent him from checking the formation. His soul power repeatedly tried to enter the formation, to see what was inside the formation, and why it was absorbing life force. Although it didn't absorb much, only a tiny bit, the total amount accumulated day after day, year after year, was quite astonishing. Lin Moyu discovered that a trace of his own life force was also sucked into the formation and disappeared. A very tiny trace, completely ignoring his defensive skills and talents. This discovery shocked Lin Moyu even more. It shows that the level of the laws in the formation is very high, which ordinary level 96 laws cannot achieve. What exactly is hidden inside? Lin Moyu felt curious, and also vigilant. In case it's like the Wind and Thunder continent, hiding some powerful existence, that would be troublesome. But it shouldn't be. If that's really the case, there are demigods among the human race, they would have cleaned it up long ago. After all, this is the human race's world, not the Wind and Thunder continent. Lin Moyu used various methods, but couldn't penetrate into the formation, and finally had to give up. Unconsciously, he had crossed the initial stage dungeon and entered the mid-stage dungeon area. An invisible pressure struck, landing on Lin Moyu, but had no effect. The closer he got to the mid-stage dungeon, the smaller the wind and snow became, and eventually disappeared. A lively scene appeared before him. Many human teams were stationed here year-round, forming a sizable living settlement. The last time Lin Moyu came, he was in a hurry to farm the dungeon, and then in a hurry to leave. He hadn't seen this place yet. Now it seems, the atmosphere of life is strong, everyone gathers together to drink and eat meat, peaceful and lively. 1,000 years ago, such a life was almost unimaginable. At that time, there were constant wars, and professionals went to the battlefield one after another, their blood staining the rivers and mountains. If it weren't for the desperate struggle of the sages, the human race would have fallen under the iron hooves of the demons and dragons long ago. Lin Moyu didn't stop, but crossed the garrison and continued to walk upwards. The wind and snow became heavier again. From the mid-stage dungeon to the high-stage dungeon, this road is even more difficult to walk. The wind and snow are like knives, with aggressiveness. Climbing the mountain is an action. Under the huge pressure, although there is no air ban, it is also difficult to fly. The pressure is more than 10 times greater than before. It is another road of assessment, eliminating a batch of unqualified people. This kind of assessment is useless to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu still walked without a trace, calm and relaxed. The wind and snow are getting bigger and bigger. Lin Moyu can see the entrance of the dungeon far away through the wind and snow. The dungeon vortex is spinning on the top of the mountain. It seems that the dungeon is already at the top of the peak, and there is a flat ground here. Lin Moyu compared the position of his soul power and found that the position of the dungeon is actually hundreds of meters lower than the top of the peak. But from the naked eye, there is no road after the dungeon. Lin Moyu knew that someone had hidden the real road through special means. There is still a road after the dungeon, and you can continue to walk upwards. You have to go beyond the height of the formation before you can reach the real peak. If I guessed correctly, the high stage dungeon is not the end. Perhaps there is a 4th stage dungeon. Lin Moyu guessed in his heart, and strode towards the dungeon. Whether his guess is correct or not, he will know after playing it. The wind and snow were pushed away, and there was a noise behind him. A group of professionals broke through the wind and snow, and rushed up against the invisible pressure. They are very fast, and they do not stop on the road. The closer you get to the dungeon entrance, the greater the pressure you need to resist, and the less time you spend on the road. Lin Moyu understood this, looked at the people coming, and said to himself, what a coincidence. There are basically no people on the way to the high stage dungeon. Occasionally, a team will come up, and they often rush up the mountain as quickly as possible. The pressure outside is too strong, and no one can stand it for a long time. The main reason is that the requirements of the mid-stage dungeon are too high, and there are not many who can pass the test. And the high-stage dungeon is too difficult, the level 70 team can't beat it at all, and the level 80 team also has a lot of pressure. Once it exceeds level 80, it does not meet the dungeon requirements, and you can't even enter, let alone fight. So most of the teams that come to attack the high-stage dungeon are teams composed of level 79 or 80 professionals. Most of them are level 80 teams. Level 80 attributes have been greatly improved again, and they have mastered new skills, so they can have a better chance of attacking the dungeon. When Lin Moyu looked at them, they also looked at Lin Moyu. It is absolutely unique to see Lin Moyu going up the mountain alone, leisurely. They saw Lin Moyu stopping, and they all felt strange. But they didn't stop for half a step because of this, and quickly rushed towards the dungeon. After they passed by, Lin Moyu also smiled slightly and continued to move forward. Although he can't see their levels, soul induction tells Lin Moyu that these people are probably between level 79 and 80. This team of 24 people, with extremely tacit cooperation during the march, moves in unison, giving Lin Moyu a military-like feeling. It's just that they are not wearing military uniforms, nor are they wearing military badges, so they can't be identified. Some well-trained guild teams may also reach this level. This team quickly surpassed Lin Moyu, rushing to the dungeon entrance at top speed, then sitting down on the side. Someone took out a prop, setting up a shield in the team, blocking the wind, snow, and pressure. They began to rest. Perhaps they had consumed too much energy rushing all the way up, needing to recover before entering the dungeon. Whether in transit or resting at this moment, their actions were unified. Moreover, the leader of the team enforced orders strictly. Lin Moyu felt that this team should be from the military. If not from the military, they were trained as professionals in the same way as the military. Such a team of professionals has strong combat power, capable of exerting great strength whether on the battlefield or in a dungeon. While they rested, Lin Moyu arrived at the dungeon entrance. Someone noticed Lin Moyu, and they showed surprise. What was someone doing here alone, looking at the scenery? But it was all wind and snow here, a vast expanse of white, what was there to see? And bearing the huge invisible pressure, who would be in the mood to look at the scenery in this situation? Lin Moyu stood in front of the dungeon, looking at them, soldiers. The leader of the team looked at Lin Moyu with doubt, is there something wrong? Lin Moyu smiled and shook his head, just curious, just asking. Saying that, he stretched out his hand and pressed it on the dungeon entrance. The next second, his figure disappeared. Everyone was stunned, he actually entered the dungeon. Are you kidding me, entering the dungeon alone, courting death? He probably doesn't know, inside the dungeon, all teleportation items will be invalid, only after surviving the first wave of attacks, will you be qualified to choose to leave. He will die inside, what an idiot. He doesn't look like a fool, how could he do such a stupid thing? Everyone was stunned by Lin Moyu's actions. Who doesn't know the difficulty of high-level dungeons, wanting to solo it is absolutely impossible. And being able to get here has already proven extraordinary strength. Yet he made such a death-seeking move, which is incomprehensible. Mind your own business, hurry up and rest, enter the dungeon in 10 minutes. The leader shouted in a low voice, and everyone immediately shut their mouths. The leader looked at the dungeon, using a voice only he could hear, could it be him? If there was anyone in this world who could possibly solo the Kunlun Shrine high-level dungeon, only one person could do it. Regardless of age or attire, it all seemed to match. The leader felt that he had guessed Lin Moyu's identity. It should be Divine General Lin, perhaps he really can solo it. It can only be him. ... Inside the dungeon, Lin Moyu's vision had just recovered. Before he could even take a look at the situation inside the dungeon, 5-colored and 6-colored lights had already covered him. Elemental fluctuations roared violently. All kinds of elemental attacks instantly smashed into him. The bone armor glittered, and shattered with a bang after only 2 seconds. Now at level 74, with talent, the bone armor equivalent to 590,000 constitution, only lasted 2 seconds. That is to say, if it were a professional with 590,000 constitution, without calculating equipment or defensive skills, they could only last 2 seconds. But 2 seconds was enough for Lin Moyu to do many things. The Undead Legion appeared, the Headless Knights charged in all directions, carving out a path of blood for Lin Moyu. Without needing to see with his eyes, the power of the soul swept across, almost instantly understanding what was happening. Chapter 638 Elemental Convergence, like enjoying fireworks. Without needing to see with his eyes, the power of the soul had already explored what was happening. There were a large number of monsters around him, they launched the first round of attacks towards him. But now they had been pushed back by the Headless Knights, with numerous casualties. Thousands of meters away, there stood 4 fortresses. The fortresses were arranged in a fan shape, surrounding him. Each fortress had walls, and many monsters stood on the walls. The walls were hundreds of meters high, and there were formations flowing on the fortresses, forming protection. The monsters on the walls were huge, each exceeding 10 meters. Energy boiled and rolled on their bodies, all of them could cast long-range elemental attacks. The bone armor shattered so quickly, the biggest contributors were them. The dungeon has become different. These monsters look like an army. Lin Moyu discovered the anomaly immediately. Whether it was the monsters attacking him at close range, or the monsters standing in the fortresses casting long-range elemental strikes, their actions seemed to have a unified command, not just rushing up to attack randomly. Moreover, the 4 fortresses were faintly connected as one. The elements manipulated by the monsters in each fortress were different. The leftmost fortress manipulated the wind element. Counting to the right, they were fire, water, and electricity in order. These 4 elements could be said to be the most common 4 elements among human professionals. Each fortress controlled one element to attack. Not some skill or spell, just the purest elemental attacks. This attack method reminded Lin Moyu of gods. Whether it was humans, demons, or dragons, using elements ultimately required the use of skills to attack. Only gods, because their essence was different from other beings, they themselves were the embodiment of elements, having absolute control over elements. This also enabled them to directly drive elements to attack. Of course, gods could also cast skills. Skills could increase the destructive power of elements to a certain extent. All the thoughts flashed through Lin Moyu's mind. Lin Moyu instinctively felt that the Kunlun Shrine dungeon should be related to gods. Under the attack of the headless knights and skeletons, the monsters were quickly repelled and annihilated. A space appeared in front of Lin Moyu. The elemental attacks from the fortresses continued non-stop, constantly exploding on Lin Moyu like cannonballs. Lin Moyu ignored their attacks. If it were another team, such continuous attacks would be a great pressure. But for Lin Moyu, there was no feeling at all. His strength had far exceeded the limits of the dungeon. Entering the dungeon was basically like going on a trip, walking around, looking around, and by the way clearing the dungeon. Accustomed to facing powerful enemies all year round, clearing this kind of same-level dungeon was no longer challenging at all. In the blink of an eye, the undead legions had cleaned up the monsters outside the fortresses. Then they flooded into the 4 fortresses like a tide. Overwhelming attacks landed on the fortresses, causing the fortresses' shields to totter. The 4 fortresses suddenly rose with strong energy fluctuations. The 4 elements converged in the air. For a time, dark clouds covered the sky, the wind howled, and thunder rumbled. The corners of Lin Moyu's mouth rose slightly, finally making a mauve one half a. He had sensed long ago that there were 4 bosses hidden within the 4 fortresses. The 4 bosses were the commanders of the fortresses. Only when the fortresses were attacked to a certain extent would they take action. This was the dungeon mechanic. Now, seeing that the fortresses' shields were about to collapse, the commanders inside finally made their move. 4 elements converged in the air, their power constantly increasing. The power quickly exceeded the level 80 tier, breaking through the dungeon's limit. This phenomenon surprised Lin Moyu somewhat. Normally, except for the final boss in a dungeon, the power level of the dungeon midway would not exceed the allowed entry limit. This was a level 75 dungeon, and the allowed entry level limit was level 80. Therefore, apart from the final boss, the monster enemies encountered midway would also have power between levels 75 and 80. But now, having just entered the dungeon, the power limit was broken. Lin Moyu knew clearly in his heart that this level of power was nothing to him, but for other professionals, it would be very difficult to deal with. He had once read the high-level data of the Kunlun Shrine dungeon. Although the data was not detailed, he knew the general situation inside. The dungeon had 3 stages, and he was currently in the first stage. This stage was to destroy the elemental fortresses and obtain the keys. True to its name, the difficulty of the high-level dungeon is really high. It's really difficult for ordinary teams to pass. Lin Moyu said softly. He didn't realize that what he was doing was different from what was in the data. The data only said to destroy the elemental fortresses. In fact, it was enough to choose one of the 4 to destroy. Others would choose one elemental fortress to attack, and only the commander of that fortress would be alarmed. There would be no elemental convergence, and the dungeon's power limit wouldn't be broken. Lin Moyu was attacking all 4 fortresses at the same time, alarming the commanders in all 4 fortresses, thus triggering a mutation. Gales howled in the dungeon, the wind turning into knives, crackling and falling on the undead legion. Thunder rumbled, electric snakes danced, also shuttling back and forth on the undead legion. Lightning illuminated the earth, and then red and blue lights flashed in the air. Fire and water elements fell at the same time. Even Lin Moyu was seeing the scene of fire, rain and snowflakes falling together for the first time. It was extremely beautiful. The 2 attributes, opposing and incompatible elements, collided, and a violent explosion was born from this. For a time, the elements vibrated, dazzling the eyes. Lin Moyu stood there with a relaxed expression, as if he were admiring a beautiful firework display. Having experienced the Dragon King's palace dungeon and been baptized by the elemental dragon, this level of elemental attack was completely trivial, like child's play. Under the elemental impact, the undead legion still maintained a powerful offensive. The Lich generals were healing, and the injuries they suffered could be healed in the blink of an eye. Like Lin Moyu, they ignored the elemental attacks. Lin Moyu didn't even need to summon the Skeleton King, nor did he need any other skill assistance. The undead legion itself was enough to push through everything. The seemingly sturdy shields of the 4 fortresses only lasted for a minute under the undead legion's crazy onslaught before shattering. The undead legion pounced like wolves, quickly clearing the monsters on the city walls. The army stormed into the interior of the fortresses and began to besiege the commanders. Lin Moyu strolled forward leisurely. With the undead legion at its current level, as long as he didn't encounter tricky enemies, he didn't need to worry about how to fight. He just needed to wait for the results. Before long, the elements gathered in the air dissipated. Lin Moyu also received the information. Killed level 78 Wind Commander, experience plus ***. Obtained Wind Key. Wind Key, one of the 4 elemental keys. At least one key must be obtained to open the 3rd stage of the dungeon. Killed level 78 Fire Commander, experience plus ***. Obtained Fire Key. Information kept popping up, and Lin Moyu obtained all 4 keys. The 4 elemental fortresses completely quieted down. When the undead legion left the fortresses collapsed in a rumble, turning into ruins. Lin Moyu also walked past the fortresses at this time, continuing forward along the road in the dungeon. Looking up, he saw the peak of Kunlun Mountain. On the peak, through the dissipating mist, he could vaguely see a delicate and magnificent palace. Qian Jiao Jiao. Kunlun Shrine, the name of the dungeon came from this. After the elemental fortresses was the mountain climbing road. From here, the real beginning of the dungeon began. Lin Moyu looked at the mountain peak. The Kunlun main peak in the dungeon gave him a sense of agility and vitality. Unlike the Kunlun main peak outside, which was lifeless. He had this feeling the first time he entered the Kunlun Shrine dungeon. At that time, he even suspected that the mountain peak in the dungeon was the real Kunlun main peak. Now Lin Moyu was even more certain of his feelings. There were too many legends about Kunlun Mountain. Whether it was in his previous life after transmigrating, or in the current Divine Xia Empire, there were legends about Kunlun Mountain. In his previous life, it was said that Kunlun was the ancestor of all mountains, and there was a saying that the dragon veins of the world came from Kunlun. Here, Kunlun was also mysterious and powerful. It was said that it had nurtured a large number of gods and had even formed the Kunlun pantheon. Lin Moyu didn't believe in the theory of the pantheon, but with the towering Kunlun mountains, it was entirely possible for a few or a dozen gods to appear. The power of the soul flowed in the dungeon, gradually seeping into the Kunlun main peak. Lin Moyu was very interested and wanted to understand everything. Perhaps the mystery of the changes back then could be revealed from it. Chapter 639 True Peak, False Peak, Divine Palace. During his growth, Lin Moyu came into contact with things that were different from other professionals. After completing the first big exam, he was favored by Bai Yiyuan. After that, anything he came into contact with was somewhat high-end. Later, as his level increased, the information he learned became more profound and complex, and mysteries followed one after another. Often, just knowing one answer would bring up several more mysteries. Even now, what he came into contact with had far exceeded the knowledge of Bai Yiyuan and Meng Anwen. In the whole world, he was the only one who could have an equal dialogue with Antares. He was the only one qualified to enter the Dragon King's palace. There was definitely no one else who had seen the elemental dragon and the dragon god. He was also the only one who could get 2 source runes and keep them, and get the source skill. Lin Moyu knew that the path he was walking was different from anyone else's. He was destined to unravel all kinds of mysteries and figure out the essence of this world. What exactly happened in this world in the past era, and why did these things happen? Lin Moyu felt that all the changes were not natural, and there must be a deeper reason. Antares had once let something slip once, although it was just a few words. But it allowed Lin Moyu to discover some clues. Afterwards, both sides tacitly didn't mention it again, and Lin Moyu knew more clearly that this world was strange. Now, standing on the Kunlun main peak, Lin Moyu was 99% sure that the Kunlun main peak in the dungeon was the real Kunlun main peak, the one with countless legends. And the Kunlun main peak outside the dungeon was fake. Being able to switch the two main peaks is not something ordinary gods can do. But why would it do this? Lin Mo walked while pondering this question. 483. A large number of monsters rushed from the mountain on both sides, and the undead army moved in response, killing them all. Most of the monsters in the dungeon are between level 75 and 77, and they have no resistance against the undead army. Lin Mo suddenly raised his head and looked towards the palace on the mountain, with a gleam in his eyes. He seemed to understand something. To verify this, his soul power rushed towards the palace. However, just as he was about to approach the palace, a formation suddenly emerged, blocking Lin Mo's soul power. Lin Mo clenched his fist, slightly excited. That's right, that's how it is. The formation blocking the soul power and the formation outside the dungeon that absorbs life force have the same origin. It is obvious that the two formations came from the same person. The previous mystery was answered, and everything became clear. Setting up a fake peak outside and a formation inside the peak, absorbing the life force of a vast number of creatures at an extremely slow rate. Using the wind and snow of the Kunlun Mountains and the pressure test of the Divine Palace dungeon, people are completely unable to detect it. Even ordinary level 90 powerhouses who come here will not notice it if they don't look carefully. All the absorbed life force enters the dungeon and merges into the real Kunlun Divine Palace. The seemingly small amount of life force, over time, becomes an astonishing number. If I'm not mistaken, there should be a powerful god sleeping. Gods who suffer serious injuries will choose to sleep, using the passage of time to restore themselves. This god has added an insurance on top of that, not only sleeping himself, but also absorbing the life force of a vast number of creatures. In this way, its sleeping time will be greatly shortened. Lin Mo felt that his guess should be correct. It should be like this. Although he believed in his guess, a guess is just a guess, and if possible, he still wanted to go to the Divine Palace to see for himself. As for how to enter the Divine Palace, either break in by force or pass through the dungeon. Lin Mo believed that since the other party had created such an assessment-type dungeon, they must have left a passage. The front suddenly lit up, and a light sphere like the sun appeared in the air. The light shuttled through the wind and snow, creating dazzling light and shadow. Tiny rainbows appeared in the air, like colorful halos, extremely beautiful. If these settings were all created by that god, it can only be said that the god's appreciation of beauty is extremely high. Lin Mo's eyes fell on the sun-like light sphere. The light sphere was just bright, not hot. The light sphere was just a surface phenomenon, and its core was actually a formation. This formation mobilized a large number of light elements, blooming with dazzling light. The light sphere suddenly flickered, and the sky was filled with glittering snowflakes. They were also covered with a large number of light elements, and then the snowflakes turned into snowmen the size of fists. The snowmen waved small light swords in their hands and rushed towards Lin Mo. Don't look at the small snowmen, but their strength is not bad. Under soul perception, each small snowman's strength is as high as level 77. The detection skill flew out. Light snowman, level 77. Strength, 300,000. Agility, 250,000. Spirit, 250,000. Constitution, 200,000. Skill, light element attack. Characteristic, rebirth. The total attributes are only 1 million, which is weaker than the monsters in the Hell difficulty dungeon of the same level. The monsters that appear in a dungeon of the difficulty of the Kunlun Divine Palace should not have such attributes. Lin Mo was not careless. He noticed the characteristic of the light snowman. The characteristic is rebirth. I don't know what the specific performance is. The undead army had already greeted them. Even the smallest skeleton grand mage in the undead army is over 2 meters tall. The headless knight, with both man and horse, is over 5 meters tall. These light snowmen are only the size of fists. They are really tiny. The skeleton grand mage launched the attack first. For them, once locked, no matter the size, the attack is the same. The elements roared, and the surrounding elements suddenly became chaotic. The light snowmen were blown into pieces in the intense explosion. But immediately afterwards, the fragments turned into snowmen again. The shape is slightly smaller than before, and the aura has also weakened, but the number has increased significantly. One snowman was blown into 7 or 8 pieces, and then turned into 7 or 8 smaller snowmen, and rushed to kill again. In Lin Mo's eyes, their weapons are no bigger than embroidery needles. But the power must not be measured by size. These smaller light snowmen are not weak. Every sword that is pierced will kill people. They are constantly being blown apart, and then turned into smaller snowmen. The number is increasing sharply, and the power is also weakening. But no matter how many there are, it is useless. The skeleton Grand Mage's skill is a range attack, and each explosion will cover a large area. Under the intensive bombing, the little snowmen simply couldn't rush over. Is this rebirth? Lin Mo saw it in his eyes and found it a bit ridiculous. No matter how many times you can be reborn, there will always be a limit. For example, the number of rebirths, such as the level of power weakened after each rebirth. It will always collapse after reaching the limit. Sure enough, after being killed 10 times in a row, the little snowmen, which were only the size of fingers, completely collapsed and were never able to complete a new round of importance. As Lin Mo thought, the rebirth ended here. At this time, the light sphere in the sky flickered again, releasing a brighter light. This time, a larger range of snowflakes turned into light snowmen, rushing over aggressively. This place is the second stage in the high-level dungeon. After passing the 4 elemental fortresses in the first stage, you will face the second stage here. Most teams fail here and have to choose to withdraw. Snowflakes are falling in the sky, countless. The number of light snowmen transformed from snowflakes is also the same. The number of the second wave of snowmen has exceeded the first wave several times. The skeleton Grand Mages were having a great time bombing. Lin Mo looked at the light sphere in the sky. The light sphere is the root. As long as the light sphere is not resolved, the light snowmen will be endless. The essence of the light sphere is a formation, either break the formation, or defeat the formation with powerful power. Lin Mo's heart moved, and the Headless Knight immediately rushed towards the light sphere. The charge skill was activated, and the Headless Knight's team rushed towards the light sphere like a long dragon. The light sphere is more than a kilometer away from the ground, and it looks small, but it is actually not small. Lin Mo stared at the light sphere. Just as the Headless Knight was about to arrive, a large number of runes appeared on the light sphere. The formation was activated, and a shield full of runes appeared outside the light sphere. The Headless Knights crashed into the shield and were blown away. Tens of thousands of Headless Knights who followed closely attacked the shield in turn. The shield twisted continuously, enduring the onslaught of the Headless Knight for a full 2 minutes before shattering. Then, the Headless Knight charged towards the sphere of light, and the formation within the sphere activated once more. A large number of light swords extended from the sphere, instantly turning it into a hedgehog, blasting away all approaching Headless Knights. The Headless Knight fully attacked the sphere of light, cutting off each of the light swords that protruded from it. Shield and light swords, the 2 layers of defense, were breached in an instant. Subsequently, the Headless Knight surrounded the sphere of light and began to pummel it. The white bone sword in its hand struck the sphere of light, clanging loudly. The runes of the formation flickered continuously, and finally, it exploded with a bang. As the sphere of light shattered, the snowman of light also disappeared. The second phase of the instance dungeon is cleared. Chapter 640, High-level instances are not suitable for leveling. After passing the second phase, the instance dungeon became smooth sailing. So far, Lin Mo has not received any rewards. Apart from some experience points and useless materials, he hasn't even found a decent piece of equipment. So far, this instance dungeon can be described in one word: poor. Not only is it poor in equipment, but it is also pitifully poor in experience points. Except for the wave of experience gained when first entering the instance dungeon. The little snowman and the formation light sphere just now gave absolutely no experience. If the beginner and intermediate instances are leveling paradises, then the advanced instances really have nothing. Walking higher and higher along the mountain road, the wind and snow also became more violent. Here, even people above level 70 might not be able to stand their ground. The temperature dropped to a terrifying level, and water turning into ice was the most common phenomenon. Even Lin Mo felt bursts of cold at this time. The low temperature was now enough to cause damage to him, and the damage transfer skill continued to work, transferring all the damage to the undead legion. The soul fires in the skulls of the skeletons were also compressed somewhat in the cold air. Lin Mo could feel that beneath the accumulated snow was ice that had existed for who knows how many years. Pressing forward against the bitter cold, there were no monsters along the way. It wasn't until reaching the depths of the instance dungeon that 4 square platforms appeared in sight. Behind the square platforms was a thick fog, with no way forward. Each of the square platforms had a recess, looking like a keyhole. Lin Mo understood at a glance and immediately took out the elemental keys he had obtained from the elemental fortress. Different square platforms represented different elemental keys. For most teams, only one of the keys was needed to open the next stage. But Lin Mo now had all 4 keys. Inserting the 4 keys one by one, the 4 square platforms rumbled simultaneously. The rumbling sound grew louder and louder, and then the square platforms exploded, turning into corresponding elements. The 4 elements of wind, fire, water, and electricity gathered again, turning into 4 colored pillars of light that shot straight into the sky. The clouds parted, and a brand new passage appeared before them. This passage seemed to lead directly to the divine palace at the summit, with no end in sight. As the passage opened, waves of terrifying energy fluctuations spread out. A large number of sleeping monsters awakened. Each one was above level 78, and they were not ordinary monsters, but at least elites. Under the soul vision, the number and strength of the elites were clear at a glance. The number of elites awakening was neither too many nor too few, exactly 400. Lin Mo pondered, if only one of the passages was opened, the number of elites to face should not be so many. Lin Mo was right, if only one passage was opened, they would only need to face 100 elite monsters. Moreover, the elite monsters would awaken at different speeds, and strong teams could use this time difference to clear these elites one by one. At most, the number of elites they would have to deal with simultaneously would not exceed 4. But now that Lin Mo had activated all 4 passages at the same time, 400 elite-level monsters were awakening simultaneously. At most, he might have to face 16 elites at the same time. This would be a disaster for any team. After all, the team only had 24 people, and facing 16 elite-level monsters at the same time would basically mean no chance of victory. The corners of Lin Mo's mouth twitched slightly. Is that all? 400 elites were too weak. Before the elites could fully awaken and charge over, the Undead Legion had already rushed up first. This was the last phase of the instance dungeon, and it still disappointed Lin Mo. Although the experience from elites was high, much higher than ordinary monsters. But the number was really too small. Even if the experience from the 400 was 10 times that of ordinary monsters, it would only be equivalent to 4,000 ordinary monsters. What's more, the experience wasn't even 10 times more. If that was all, the advanced Kunlun Divine Palace instance dungeon was no longer suitable for him to level up. Farming this instance dungeon was not as fast as going to the Wind and Thunder Tree and clearing all the Thunder Tree wind flowers except for the Thunder Mountain range. Killed level 78 Flame Giant, experience plus ***. Obtained, Flame Sword. Flame Sword, quasi-legendary weapon, all attributes plus 60000, all fire-type skill power increased by 120%, additional skill, Scorch. Scorch, continuously deals damage to the target, lasting for 1 minute. As a fire elemental elite was killed, Lin Mo gained a quasi-legendary weapon. Although it wasn't great, it couldn't be considered bad either. At least its attributes were much stronger than platinum-grade weapons. Even the worst quasi-legendary weapon had attribute bonuses in the tens of thousands. It casually gave several tens of thousands of bonuses. For all professions, quasi-legendary weapons would be a leap forward. If matched with good skills, this weapon would be very powerful. Elite after elite was killed, and quasi-legendary equipment entered the storage space one by one. Lin Mo finally understood that high-level dungeons were indeed not suitable for leveling. They were for getting equipment. Based on a 1/10 drop rate, even if only one passage was opened, it would represent 10 quasi-legendary pieces of equipment. I ask you, which instance dungeon can produce 10 quasi-legendary pieces of equipment at once? Moreover, Lin Mo opened all the passages, and at least 30 to 40 quasi-legendary pieces of equipment could be produced at once, a very astonishing harvest. Low-level and intermediate-level instances were for leveling, and high-level instances were for getting equipment. In this way, you had both levels and equipment. The Kunlun Divine Palace truly lives up to its reputation. Although the difficulty is indeed a bit high, it has also brought a lot of resources to the human race. Lin Mo felt something in his heart. It was indeed very good. There were not many advanced craftsmen among the human race. Even if they went all out, they couldn't make many quasi-legendary pieces of equipment. As for true legendary equipment, don't even think about it. Among the human race, the vast majority of quasi-legendary equipment came from high-level instance dungeons. The importance of high-level instance dungeons like Kunlun Divine Palace, which could produce a large number of quasi-legendary equipment, was self-evident. With equipment, the combat power of human race professionals can be greatly improved. It's not just talk that a top-quality equipment can even change a profession. Unfortunately, these equipment are useless to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu has tried all kinds of equipment, only the Monarch Scepter is useful to him. The undead army rushed into the passage, killing all the way. No matter if you are an awakened or unawakened boss monster, they will be violently chopped as soon as they come up. The unreasonableness of the undead army is brought into full play at this moment. Lin Moyu doesn't need to do anything, just follow the road and keep climbing towards the peak. Along the way, the sound of fighting never stops. Information keeps popping up. Lin Moyu is getting closer and closer to the peak, until an array appears, blocking his way. At this time, he is only about 1,000 meters away from the shrine at the top. The shrine can already be seen clearly. The shrine is very exquisite, standing on the top of the mountain. The connection between the shrine and the mountain is only a small point. But even so, the shrine is still very stable, and it is not unstable in the strong wind. Wind chimes are hung on the four corners of the shrine. The wind chimes are constantly hitting and ringing by the wind. The sound of the wind chimes is faintly transmitted, like a movement. In the copy's information, there is no record of the shrine. A team once opened the passage and reached the end of the passage. At the end of the passage, they saw the final boss of the copy. They left the copy after defeating the boss, and there was no follow-up. However, they only used one key, while Lin Moyu used 4 keys. The difficulty is more than 4 times greater, and the results seen are also different. At least the array in front of you is not in the data. The sound of wind chimes from the shrine is also not there. If there were, there would definitely be a record. The sound of wind chimes is very nice, with a faint sadness. The sound of wind chimes is a movement, but also a story. Lin Moyu heard the charm in it and was a little fascinated. He seemed to see some pictures from the sound, and saw the story that happened back then. The power of the soul sword, affected by the sound of the wind chimes. Morale was mobilized, the soul was impassioned, and the fighting spirit was boiling. Lin Moyu had the idea of joining the battlefield and fighting bravely with the undead army. He realized that this idea was not normal, but he just couldn't control it. This is not right, stop. Lin Moyu roared in his heart, trying to control his soul. Will is fighting against the subconscious. The 9-colored dragon soul crystal suddenly let out a dragon roar, Lin Moyu trembled, and the whole person suddenly calmed down. Lin Moyu exhaled a long breath, recalling what happened just now, the feeling of being out of control. The power of law, he had lingering fears. He didn't expect that there was a trace of the power of law in the sound of the wind chimes. He was unknowingly caught. The 4 wind chimes in the 4 corners of the shrine are extremely unusual. Lin Moyu cheered up, this is not a good place. He didn't take the copy seriously, but the shrine on the top of Kunlun Peak was full of crises. Lin Moyu guarded his soul and temporarily stopped paying attention to the shrine. The 400 bosses in the passage have been cleaned up almost. As the last boss died, the clouds moved in all directions, and a large number of elements gathered in the field. The mountain peak kept vibrating, and a behemoth braving the wind and snow, descended from the sky.